Welcome back to the Top 6 Show. We're again today sponsored by our friends at BetMGM. Play golden goals, predict 6 correct results, and win £2 million tax-free. Get it downloaded now. It's free. Costs you nothing to play. Scan the QR code above my head or click on the link in our live comment section. We've got a brilliant panel for you tonight. Don is on his way. He's been running late since the match reaction yesterday, but Don says he will be coming on. I think he's been writing down all his excuses. I think there's a little bit of, this is a cultural quote really, but I think there's a little bit of vomit on his sweater already. So he's going to be on his way very, very soon. We've got Roms here repping Liverpool that are top of the English Premier League. We've got man like Mojenda back with us, who is top of Serie A right now. So well done to you, man, over there. LB's back with us after his hard-fought win against the might of Luton Airport at the weekend. Kate's here, showed up after that brilliant win. Actually, it was a brilliant win, an absolute drumming of the Toon Army. And Staffy is sitting down there, bottom of the pile right now as a Man United fan after what is nothing short of maybe the most embarrassing weekend post Sir Alex Ferguson. Is that the line? It's Mum Spaghetti. Yeah, that's the one. I don't quite remember the line. It's a great film, though, 8 Mile, and that soundtrack from it was amazing. But I think that's where he is, Don. I think Don is sitting there writing out lyrics, writing out lines, writing out bars of how he can defend his team, how he can defend this crisis that they're in. And we'll get on to Chelsea a little bit later in the show. We've got Champions League previews to do as well. But I did want to start with Man United, and I'm not going to go to you straight away, Staffy, because I don't want to give you any more sporting depression than you currently have. But I know we've all laughed at Man United over the last 10 years, 7-0 against Liverpool's, batterings by City, not challenging for Premier League, 6-1s to Tottenham's. But for me personally, getting beat 3-0 at home by Bournemouth is the most embarrassing result my club has had in the last 10 years because it's Bournemouth. And I mean that with all due respect. We've never failed to score against them at Old Trafford. They've never beaten us at Old Trafford in their history. And they pumped us. And it should have been, by the way, 4-0. They even if that ball doesn't touch the guy's hand, he's going to score. They were unlucky for it not to be 4-0. LB, why is this manager still in charge for 2 huge games this week versus Bayern Munich and Liverpool after that debacle at the weekend?
I can only imagine it's because they don't want to maybe bring in a new manager for Bayern Munich and Liverpool and give them a tough start because make no mistake about it, this manager should not be in charge of Manchester United anymore. I just refuse to accept any possible excuse, any possible reasoning that people are throwing at me as to why this manager should stay in charge, other than the comedy factor. Because there is absolutely nothing that this manager is giving Manchester United Football Club, in my personal opinion, that is showing a development, showing any sort of progression. It's embarrassing. The performances are embarrassing. I'm sitting there watching United. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at the performances. McTominay, absolutely disgraceful performance, and he stays on the pitch for 90 minutes. Shocking. Yeah, this manager's falling out with so many players at the football club, yet he gets away with it scot-free, no problem every single time. You're conceding goals left, right, and centre. Yeah, look at the goals you can see. 3 to Bournemouth, 3 to Galatasaray, 4 to Copenhagen, 3 to Newcastle in the Cup, 3 to City, 3 to Galatasaray again, 4 to Bayern Munich, 3 to Brighton, 3 to Arsenal, 6 to City last year, 7 to Liverpool last year. Oh, but it's okay. Trust the process. Yeah, I'm buzzing about that, man, because as a City fan, I want you to keep Ten Hag in because this guy's a fraud. I called it to start the season, yeah? Red flags last year. Big red flags, but he got away with it. He got away with it on the fact that he managed to get top 4 and he winged a cup. But this manager, I'm telling you now, he don't know what he's doing. He's a fraud and he's winging it completely. I'm happy for him to stay there as long as, because I don't think he's going to turn this around. I don't think the players back him. I don't think the players truly believe him. Of course, McTominay is going to come out today in the press conference or whatever in an interview and say, "Cool, we're all pulling behind the manager." Of course, he's going to say that. The guy shouldn't be at Man United and he's playing 90 minutes when he's dropping stinkers. Of course, he's going to come out and back the manager. This manager is a fraud. He should not be at Manchester United Football Club. It's hilarious. Long may it continue. But if Man United are a serious team, they'll get rid of him ASAP. I can only imagine I can only imagine that they're just giving him this week because does anyone here really believe Man United are going to get a result against Bayern Munich? Does anyone really believe they're going to get a result against Liverpool? Literally going into football matches thinking, going to get beat. It's embarrassing, man. And I just don't think he's got the ability to turn it around. He's still not seeing a proper style of football. He's falling out with all the players. I mean, can you name me, Terry, one positive this manager is bringing to your football club right now? One.
There is none right now. And interestingly, I saw a clip today, and I'm going to play this clip. And I'm calling out Canadian Cam as an individual. I'm calling out Sunshine, two friends of mine, great guys, Man United supporters, that have almost not laughed at me. That would be the wrong word of it. But when I've said that, why have we not introduced a more Ajax centric style of play, something that resembles the way they pass the move, something that's futuristic, something that's contemporary? It's sort of like, well, who expected that? I did. And I did expect us to pass the ball better. Look at this from Man United players ahead of a big Champions League game.
Right. 1, 2, 3. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's shocking. It's shocking that the overhit passes, inaccurate passes. I understand that we weren't going to mimic to the letter what Ajax did, but I expected our football to improve, our passing to improve, our shape to improve, but it hasn't. And I remember the first video that was shown of our passing drills when he first came in, and a lot of Man United fans, including me, said, cool, I know we're laughing now, but we've had Oli for 2 years. We had Jose before that. Give this manager time, he'll get him passing and moving the ball better. And I've said it before, this nonsense of he didn't get all these players. How does Sheffield United play better football than us? It's ridiculous with what we spend. I went to my chiropractor today, and I had a bit of a moan about football. He said, do you still think that it's sensible to think your team should win based on history and who you are? First of all, I looked at him and said, we're going to have a go at him because he's about to click my neck, and I didn't want to piss him off. Do you know what I'm saying? But I basically said, I get that, but we're the biggest spenders in the world. So I do expect us to deliver. This isn't like we spend like Wolves. If we spent like Wolves for a decade, then I would expect to be where we are in the league. But we don't. We spend more than City. We spent over a 10-year period. This is not under Ten Hag specifically. It's an absolute joke to look the way we do. And I think you're right. There's a comment that came through, and I want to throw this out to the rivals before Staffy. He says the lazy players are throwing Ten Hag under the bus. They don't deserve to play for Ten Hag. Kate, what do you make of this? Because the players, some people are just completely defending the manager and saying the players are lazy, the players are throwing him under the bus. Is that a fair rebuttal to what LB has said as an example?
To me, they just, I watched the game and I didn't really know what I was watching. It's probably the worst Man United performance I think I've ever seen. They just look like 11 individuals on a pitch. There's no cohesion. They don't look like a team. I think the fact that he hasn't instilled any sort of philosophy of how to play is so clear. I'm not sure if they're throwing him under the bus. I just don't think he's cut out for this league. The manager, I actually really wanted Ten Hag at Spurs a while ago. Thank the Lord we didn't get him. I don't understand what he's trying to do. I just don't understand why he's bringing in players and then not playing the way that he's always played and been successful playing. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think you've got to put some blame on the players, obviously, because they're the ones that are out there for the 90 minutes. But I don't think I think he's lost the dressing room. I can't see him being there much more than a week. I'm surprised he's still there. I thought he would have gone straight away, but I think after this week he'll be gone.
Mojenda, is this players throwing managers under buses and player power, or as LB says, is Ten Hag a fraud?
No, it's absolutely this year is Ten Hag for sure, 100%. Like there's no question about it. if you're winning and you're winning matches, people are together, but because they don't believe in the style of play, they don't see a style of play. And I'm sure in training, he tries to do stuff that are very strange. Everybody sees stuff and he doesn't see it. And I'm sure the players, the same as us, like you guys said, the midfield needs that, the defense needs that. He doesn't see that. He still plays McTominay, Bruno, Amrabat, or McTominay, Bruno, Maino, whatever. And the players look at it and say, you have no idea what you're doing. You're just winging it. You're just every game, you're just looking for stuff. But I thought he would transform the team after last year. LB disagree with that, but I think at the end, LB is the right one because he said there are stuff that happened last year. He saw red flags. I didn't see the red flags last year as much as he did. But to be honest, it's not players. Lazy players will actually come to life because this is their livelihood. This is their work. If they see a style of play and they believe in a system and they believe in a manager, it looks like nobody believes in the manager. And I actually believe genuinely, even the players that, apart from McTominay, everybody and Maguire, who were out of favor, nobody else believe in what this guy's doing. No one. No one thinks that he can turn it around. Even the players like Bruno, the players that play in the team. I think it's not on the players. Completely not on the players. I'm going to keep the same energy I kept for Klopp. If one player or two players are not performing, we point to the players. But if you have like 5, 6, or 11 players not performing, it has to be the manager and the coaching staff. And I feel like everybody around Ten Hag is telling him, you're doing good, mate. You're very good. Just keep up the good work. Let's move forward to the next one. It's good. You're winning games. It's all right. The board backs you up. It's good.
Terry, I've got a question for you. I know Staffy's thoughts on Bruno, but do you believe he intentionally wanted to miss this game against Liverpool? Because that challenge for me, that just showed he bottled it. I genuinely believe he doesn't want to be a part of potentially another
Who cares, bro? We're gonna have a better midfield without him. It was good news when I saw the yellow. When I saw him,
No, I'm talking Terry.
Get the yellow.
Staffy, I know your views. I was asking Terry. I want to know Terry's views on that challenge.
Look. No, I don't believe Bruno did that. No, I don't believe he did. He didn't get booked for a tackle. He got booked for dissent. He does that all the time. I don't believe he did it to get out of the game. Listen, this is the dumbest part. Like, I don't think we'll win without him. I don't think we'll win with him. So I don't really think it makes that big of a difference. So for me, it's a bit of an anomaly. What I like about Staffy's answer, though, is when we spoke on Twitter earlier about Martial not renewing the contract. And I agree. I do think as a club, I don't think we've helped him because no player has progressed at Man United in 10 years, whether we're promoted from the academy or purchased. But I do find it interesting that someone like Staffy will feel sorry for a technically gifted footballer that flops, but a player that he doesn't like, he doesn't give that same energy to that the club has destroyed.
The guy was given a captain's armband. He wasn't ripped off the number 9 jersey and played while he was injured and then signed Alexis Sanchez in his position throughout his years of development. Like this guy. This guy's been given all the platform for him to succeed. He's just not good enough. So if we're gonna make comparisons between
that was bad.
Martial, you got to remember all that.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. The only thing that ever happened to Martial that I agree with is I don't think it was kind of right to take the number 9 shirt off of him. Having said that, Zlatan Ibrahimovic definitely warrants it far more than Martial. And Martial was never a number 9 either. The man was a winger. But
that's not the point, though. That wasn't the point.
Okay, that's the only thing that I agree with. The rest of it, like, yes, we signed other players when he was in his development phase, but all top clubs have always done that. Phil Foden has had lots of players that play in his position signed during his time at Man City, but you don't hear Man City fans saying, oh, Pep Guardiola's a bully and a nasty man for signing them. That's football. My point is this. I feel sorry for the Martials. I feel sorry for the Sanchos. I feel sorry for the Pogbas, who I do believe partly have been ruined by the disgraceful, poisonous running of this football club. But what I find really interesting is a lot of our fans, atypically, only have the energy to defend players that they like, as opposed to looking at it sort of objectively and saying, how the hell has every single player we've signed and every single player we've promoted gone backwards or stood still? That, for me, is the biggest issue. And one of the biggest problems at Man United, aside from managers and owners, is this infighting amongst fans of setting our players off against each other. It's toxic. You know, Martial FC versus Rashford FC was disgraceful. Bruno versus Pogba was disgraceful. And this is the way I've always looked at it. If you stood in front of Anthony Martial when he was at his pomp at Man United, and you were one of his fanboys, and you said to him things about Rashford, you think Martial would think you're a dickhead. If you stood in front of Paul Pogba when he was at Man United and said all the things you said about Bruno would go, you dickhead, get out of my face. That's why those little like fanboys, I'm not calling you personally a fanboy, Staffy. That's a big problem at Man United. It needs to be eradicated. Every single player has been damaged by our club having no identity, no
But
structure.
not Bruno. Bruno's just shit. Why can't we just say it for what it is? Bruno's just a shit
You
player.
cannot
guy
score. You cannot score and create and assist as many goals as him and be looked at as an outright shit footballer. Do I say he's perfect?
The
No.
guy's stat padded, and we're sitting here glorifying.
What do you mean he's stat padded?
Oh, please! I
Nonsense.
saw him on the weekend giving up the ball. And when people told me in the summer that he could play that role where he can be the number 8 next to the 6.
I didn't
instead
say
of being
that.
the 10.
This man is an attacking midfielder. What do you mean stat padded?
What do you mean stat? You know what stat padded means?
No,
the guy scored a bunch of
penalties.
penalties, and whatever.
I fucking forgot penalties don't count as goals. Shit.
Oh, please, no one counted it when Martial had 17 goals in that season, and the fan base said we shit.
But I didn't. So you're arguing with me here. Don't listen to what other dickheads
You just
online
talked about
said.
the fan base, and I'm telling you what this fan base has said.
How are you? I'm asking you. How are you discounting penalties as real goals?
I'm not discounting them, but
Yes,
when
you
people
did.
no, I'm
Yes,
not.
you
Listen,
did.
hold on. I'm not discounting it. Stat padding. Okay, the reason I said stat padding because him versus other players, he took the penalties. When we talked about Martial, because you started the Martial argument, not me. Martial had 17 goals. What was it? The 2020 season when it was him, Rashford, and Greenwood. He had 17 goals, 0 penalties. And no one ever gave him credit for the season. But every time we talk about Bruno, people want to take me back to that season where he stat padded and had, I don't know how many goals, 18 goals, and I don't know how many assists, and we won fuck all with it. So how come does it apply with Bruno, but it doesn't apply with Martial?
I can rebuttal that very, very easy. Firstly, we know that people back Martial because we as a fan base were calling him Ice Cold Martial. You don't get a nickname like Ice Cold Martial if nobody rates what you're doing. That's debunked you out straight away. Secondly, the year that Bruno scored all those goals, we didn't win anything, and we need to be condemned. But him as an individual scored more goals in a single season in midfield than any other player in English football history. To do that and just say you're shit is one of the most disingenuous.
What has he done since? Okay, so what has he done since?
Hang on a minute. I'll come to that as well. To say that he's absolutely shit after being the highest goal scoring midfielder in the history of English football in a single season is disingenuous. What has he done since? The same as every player we've signed. Gone backwards because this club is awful.
Guy got a new contract, got an armband.
Cool, but
and we're not giving him higher expectations.
Okay. But I ridicule Bruno. I've been talking about dropping the guy. But your energy for defending a player you like for regressing.
I didn't defend anyone. You brought him up.
What are you talking about?
Talk about Martial until you mentioned him.
I'm making I'll talk about what we spoke about earlier because I was asked a question about Bruno and you went in on him. And I'm making the example that I'm being objective about my football club. My football club ruins every player. I just find it laughable. We have Man United fans.
He's not ruined. He's just shit. He plays every game. He doesn't do anything. He's just shit.
Bruno has done nothing at Man United. Staffy, you've got a great football brain in your head, but to say he's done nothing is it's a lie. Why are you lying?
He had one good season that he's
lies
now.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying that he's done nothing?
He's been the main factor in our midfield. We went through McFred. Hold on, we went through McFred. We went through Pogba and Matic. We went through Casemiro. We went through all these midfielders, and the midfield has been shit for 4 years.
Staffy, answer the question. Why are you lying by saying he done nothing?
I'm not lying. What has he won? He won us. I care about cup.
Listen. I'm not saying he's great, but you're saying he's done nothing. That's a lie. Why lie?
Okay, he won us a Carling Cup, guys, an EFL Cup. Sorry, so he's won us one thing.
This is the thing. You can have an argument, but I've not said one thing detrimental about a player you like, other than the things that you should be criticised on. When you sit there and say he's done nothing, you're doing the Glazers' job. You are literally taking the focus away from the. You're a Glazer simping right now, brother.
I'm not calling out my players. Pull
your pants back up and stop sucking on the teat of the Glazers by creating this weird power dynamic amongst players. It kills our football club.
I did it. You mentioned a player, and I just said it for what it is.
You're lying about your own players because you don't like him.
Everyone sees it. Everyone sees it. Everyone here knows. Listen, everyone here knows, listen, they look at Bruno and none of them take him serious. I have Rum sitting here saying, did your captain get a yellow on purpose so he doesn't go to Enfield? That's the reputation he has. The guy sits and did you watch the Bournemouth game? The guy moaned all game. 1 second, just let me speak.
No, Staffy, I want to go back to a point you just made there. He asked that question about Bruno because this all started last year, ironically, in the Liverpool game when Gary Neville got it. I'm not going to say lie, but got it wrong when he said he was asking to come off as a substitute when he never did. Ever since then, there has been this weird narrative, and again, there's so many things that Bruno should be criticized on, and I personally do it. But this weird narrative created that he wants to avoid big games and doesn't really want to be there. It's a lie. He's been our most available football player since he signed for the football club. So to sit there and say that he doesn't want to be there,
Yeah, but I didn't say that. I didn't even say that.
It's a question from rivals. Stop doing rivals' jobs for them by sticking it to a player that you dislike just because he displaced a player that you loved. It's wrong. You're a Man United fan.
That's not the point that I made. That's not the point that I made. The
But
point
what
that
I'm
I
saying-
made.
It's what I'm saying you're doing.
Listen,
Listen,
the fact
viewers-
that he got that question from Roms, who is a rival, tells
We
you
all
everything
know
you
that's
need to
not
know.
what he's doing.
No,
You know
because
he didn't
I don't-
do it.
No, you're not letting me finish. Every
That's
other
what he
captain.
did.
If I'm looking at who's the captain at City, Diaz. Is it Diaz? If Diaz gets is it Walker? Any of them, even if it's Rodri, I don't care who it is. If any of them get suspended for the game against United, I'm not gonna be like, oh, LB, do you think they backed out of the game? You know, do you think he did that on purpose? Because everyone knows this guy is unreliable. He's not a good captain. He does not lead by example. The guy sits there and moans all game. No one takes him seriously as a captain. Roy Keane, who you just quoted, said he's one of the worst captains that he's had in the club.
So
If we're gonna quote, let's quote this one as well,
again,
because
so
he's
the
been leading this midfield for years.
Listen. So the captain argument, I agree with. I don't think he's been a good captain. But that is not the same as saying he's done nothing at Manchester United. That is a completely disingenuous comment. Equally, him being a bad captain does not make, there is no proof anywhere that he's ever done anything to avoid a game. It's a rival's question for banter and a laugh, and I get it. But for any Man United fan to jump on it like it's real, criticize your club for genuine things that are wrong. Don't make lies up about your own players.
It would have never been a question unless it's this guy. It would have never been. You know what it is? When Pogba got a red card years ago in that 5-0 loss, they said he got a red card so he can fuck off the pitch on purpose. I remember these exact words. Where's the same energy for this guy?
I'll give you the same energy. I defended fucking Pogba as well. Because I defend my
You
players.
did. How about the rest of the fan base?
I'm talking to you. Me and you are talking.
You kept referencing this fan base. So when I reference him back, why are you saying it's only me and you right now?
Because we are
talking
right
about
now.
this fan base.
I'm asking you why you're doing something.
Okay, so what are you asking me right now?
So you're calling the fan base out for not having the same energy, but then your rebuttal to that is to have the same energy.
No, but I didn't. I actually didn't say he did that on purpose.
Why don't you act more like me and go, do you know what? I don't think Pogba should be scapegoated, so I'm not going to scapegoat other Man United players and try and help.
I just said he's bad.
Why not try and help Man United by lowering the level of toxicity at the football club by doing rivals' jobs for them? Why?
Wait. I didn't say he missed the game on purpose. I said he's a bad captain and he's led our midfield for 4 years and it's led on to nothing. You didn't even ask me the question. Do you think he missed on purpose? Okay, listen, you just said I'm doing the Glazers' job, by the way. One second. You said I'm doing. You answered it, but you didn't ask me. If you would have asked me, you would have known that I actually don't think he did that on purpose. I think he had a lapse of focus at the moment.
Yes.
And he forgot that he had a yellow, but that's how incompetent he is as a leader, that he forgot that he needs to stay disciplined for 90 minutes so he doesn't miss the biggest game of the season. I would have given you that answer. But if you want to sit here and say, I'm doing the Glazers' job, how about I say you're doing the Glazers' job by dropping the standards and we're saying, oh, let's celebrate that he won us an EFL Cup in 4 years of being at the club.
I haven't said that.
Because I could sit here and say this.
I didn't say that. You can't throw that at me because that's not what I'm doing.
You just said, don't be disingenuous and say that he done nothing for us.
So
the guy won us a League Cup. What has he done?
No, when I say he said nothing, you said he's done nothing for the club. That when I look at a player that's done nothing for Man United, I would look at Bebe has done nothing for Manchester United. I would look at a player such as Donny van der Beek who has done nothing for Man United. To suggest that Bruno has had no good moments, no good runs, no good games, hasn't performed in important games for us in the time he's been here is a disingenuous lie. The same as if somebody said Martial has never done anything for us, that would be a lie. And I would rebuttal both because it doesn't matter if I like the players or not, and I actually do, it's because it's the truth about my football club. When something needs to be called out, like the manager right now, I will do that because it's the truth. What I won't do is defend the player I like when he's playing badly, but throw a player I dislike under the bus. You do it. You do it because you sat there and said the way people go on about Martial is wrong, right?
You brought up Martial. I didn't bring him up, and I told you what the facts were.
Hang on, because I mentioned it to you on Twitter earlier, and that's what we're referring to. On this show, you didn't mention it, but you mentioned it earlier. Because if it's a techie baller, you defend him. If it's a player you don't like, you ignore the fact that you said the club destroyed. You state that the club destroys technical players, yes or no?
Yes, when you tweeted that,
No,
I said, I
right,
told you before,
yes.
this club destroys technical footballers.
Yes.
I'm talking
So
about
my
a
point to you
that I
is
made
this:
before.
you don't keep the same energy for players you dislike, and that's, in my opinion, is
Just
doing
Bruno.
the Glazers'
It's
job.
just because it's Bruno
Just
you're
Bruno,
saying that.
yeah, just
Because
Bruno.
it's just no,
Listen,
hold on.
viewers,
You're just
no, we're
saying that
done.
because
We're
it's just
moving
Bruno.
on.
No,
We're
we're not
moving
moving on.
on.
No,
I'm moving
hold on.
I
When
blame
you're
you,
moving
Rob.
on, you
I'm
just said
moving on.
no.
I blame
moving
you,
on,
Rob.
In
Staffy.
this argument, no,
moving
we
on.
can't move on because you're lying there. You're
How have I
lying.
lied?
You just said it's Bruno. The only reason I said that because you mentioned Bruno, and I told you he was given a better platform to succeed at this club than Martial,
Bullshit.
including.
Bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. It's not.
Bullshit.
You think it's
Martial's
bullshit, but
been
that doesn't
here
mean.
a decade.
And all the stuff that I mentioned in the beginning, you just dismissed all of it. Besides the number 9, because Abramovich was a bigger name.
Listen, Anthony Martial, when Alexis Sanchez came in and got purchased, that man flopped and was gone 18 months later. Martial
Had 11 GA by January. Hold on, man, because no, you're not being correct here. You're not letting me tell you what the bro. Let me say what
anything. Staffy, stop a second. You sitting here and saying that Martial has not had a platform to succeed at Man United.
Not like Bruno's. Not like Bruno's. Bruno has been given a better platform than him. Martial. Oh my God. Am I going to speak or not?
We're moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on.
Martial had 11 GA by January. He had the best GA per 90 in that season. He signed Alexis Sanchez. The manager didn't rate him, and he replaced him by Alexis Sanchez when he had the best GA per 90 in the Premier League. If you don't believe me, go check the stats. So when I say he wasn't given the best platform, I don't remember Bruno having a best season, and then the next season he got replaced by someone else. Because Martial, every time he had a good season, he got replaced by Abramovich, he got replaced by Lukaku, he got replaced by Sanchez. So if we're going to sit here and mention history, let's not revise it, and we actually talk about what happened.
Revise. So thank you. I'll make the last
and now
point.
we can move on. I don't care now.
I'll make a last point to rebuttal that to you. So I understand, right? Bruno Fernandes and Bruno and Martial both had players come into the club that play in their positions since they've been here. Bruno went through a point where every fan in the most Man United fans wanted to see Donny van de Beek go ahead of him. We signed Christian Eriksen. The difference is with Bruno, and we're doing a bit of a micro penis competition here because we didn't perform enough as a club. He still maintained what he was trying to do, worked his backside off, fought against that competition. And in individual games, not as a collective season, delivered. Anthony Martial's biggest problem, as soon as he got competition at the club, which we needed, he regressed because he didn't have the minerals to push back against the competition. If you are good enough, you play. So whenever competition came in, that man went backwards. And that's the only area of his game that I regularly criticized him on. As soon as he got competition, it was, oh, poor Martial, why are you stopping his growth? This nonsense that signing players stops the development of youngsters is a fallacy. If you are good enough and you work hard enough, and when you get a chance, you deliver, you play football. Martial, along with nearly every other player in the last decade, has fouled at this club. They've all been given ample platform, some maybe more than others, but to have different energy for one to the other based on your personal feelings, I believe is detrimental to Man United. Listen, viewers, hit the like and the share button. Let's go to some of these super chats here. This says, bad club culture, changes take time in a team like Man United. Stop chasing waterfalls. That's a great song, that. Bad club culture, which managers can succeed or change players' precedents. Yeah, we need to change a lot. Terry, what Fergie did, anyone after him didn't. Well, they can't do what Fergie did. Managers are not trained to run football clubs anymore, and that's our biggest issue, in my opinion. Big up Terry and the football terrace. I'm a Chelsea fan here. I'm asking, what does the club board need to do to fix this shambles situation we are in right now? We need to eradicate player power. We need to stop the head coach stroke manager running the football club. We need world-class or the best available sporting directors possible. And we need to sign players that fit a plan. And then the fans need to stop setting us the fight, making the players go off against each other. It's crazy. It's terrible. Stop with the ridiculous Bruno slander. Just because you are frustrated with our performances, he's been our best player for years. He has been our best player for years, but even that hasn't been good enough. And that's the truth. He has been our best player for years, and that hasn't been good enough.
Good advice to go to rewind and see how this debate started, because I didn't mention Bruno. I didn't. I was ready to slander the manager, but it is what it is.
Bruno is trash. Just look at his stats against the top 6 teams. Come on, you Spurs, and big up the panel. Listen, I didn't say there's things you can't criticize Bruno about, and I've criticized him on that myself. Man United fans and now Terry and Staffy are in meltdown. I just get frustrated at the different. I've been angry about it for 10 years. If you're going to blame the way the club is run for technical players going backwards, it stands to reason that less gifted players would be damaged even more, wouldn't it? I never understood why people were more angry at Scott McTominay for underperforming than they were they were Pogba. That for me is terrible football knowledge.
Yeah, just look who outlasted who, and you'll get the answer.
Yeah, but that's no. Why be more angry? It doesn't make sense. Still, if you've got a high IQ and you're intelligent, and you're failing at lessons, and there's a kid in the class that's less intelligent than you, got learning difficulties, I'm going to be far more angry at you for failing than him. If I'm a teacher or if I'm your parent, because you've got more ability. Why in football do we look at it the other way? It's so stupid. Staffy's not dumb. Don't start calling Staffy dumb, people. Like, as much as a heated argument, like none of the names here don't need to be getting rude. Even though we raised our voices, we weren't calling each other names. I think Bruno's style of football doesn't match winning football. He left Sporting, they won the league. United have not been close to winning big titles since. His numbers depreciated for the rest. Yeah, Bruno is the reason that Man United haven't won the Premier League. Again, I appreciate the super chat, but that is just a disingenuous post because we were challenging for the Premier League in the season prior to him arriving as well, weren't we? That's what I mean. It's crazy. Always attacking Bruno and Rashford, coward fans. We should be attacking all of them if we're going to attack anyone. It's Rom's fault for the question. It's not Rom's fault. Bobby Class is Terry always getting triggered when Bruno is mentioned. Let's go, Staffy. It's not about Bruno. It's the same reason that I defend Arsenal when all these VAR decisions happen. It's about the standard being equal. And if you blame the club for ruining Martial, but you don't blame the club for not developing other players and making them better, I'm confused. I'm bloody confused. Especially when you see a manager like Postecoglou going to Spurs and suddenly the players that are not even that technically good start moving the ball really well. If we were run good and had the right people, everyone would get better. But suddenly with Man United, that don't count. The fireworks between Taffy and Sterry made me forget we are shit and lost 4-2. Thank you. I've never seen Terry so angry. I don't know. You ain't watched enough of my streams then, bro. Who lost 4-2?
Barca. He must be.
Oh, yeah. They got smashed by granola. Jesus Christ. It's madness.
Granola.
Listen.
He just called that granola.
Whatever they're called. Genoa, sorry.
Girona. No.
I had it for breakfast today. Don, Chelsea, you lost again. Talk to us.
What can I say, Terry, man? What can I say? I said to you when we done the show, the breakfast show and that on Rumble, that I wasn't confident for this game, man, because the past month since the international break, bro, I've seen a big drop-off in performances, man. Big drop-off in performances. And the same recurring problems I've been speaking about with Poch and the players, you know, they're coming up. They're coming up a lot, you know. The game against Everton, bro, you know, we were playing better than what we did against United, to be fair. But in that final third, we just weren't good enough. We were lacking ideas. The only person that was trying to do anything really was Mudryk. And I saw your monologue that you were saying about Mudryk and Antony. I'm sorry, I've got to disagree with that, Terry, man. Mudryk was the only threatening player in that game. He created about 5 chances. If we had a better striker, some of those chances that he was plating up, we buried them. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that was one of his best performances in the Chelsea top. You know, you had Enzo running about in a 10 role. I don't understand. Gallagher in the pivot. You know, these are little things that are on Pochettino, man. So it wasn't a good enough performance, man, because again, in that final third, we were lacking that creativity. And again, like I said, we were missing a striker, you know, missing someone clinical when we had the chances to finish off the game. And Everton, their game plan worked. They sat off of us and they got us in a transition. So it was just another poor performance, man. But I've got to look at the team. The confidence is on the floor right now. And a big part of that is Pochettino constantly playing man out of position. Like I said, the past month, he's been atrocious. The Newcastle game, no one played well. The United game, no one played well. I have to look at the manager. Like Mo said earlier, when multiple players aren't performing, you've got to look at the manager, bruv. You have to look at the manager. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me right now, like I said, Poch is on strike 1. And if he loses against Sheffield, bro, he's got to go after that. I'll be real with you, bruv. He's got to go after that because we can't be sitting where we are right now in 12th, whatever it is. We're not even asking to be winning the league right now. All we're asking is to be in and around Europe. Do you know what I mean? And the guys got us in the bottom half of the table. It's not good enough, Terry. It's really not. We've got 1 game a week. We spent all this money. And to have us where we are right now, it's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. So I'm looking at Pochettino a lot right now. Do you know what I mean? It's coming up with more excuses again about buying players and whatnot. I agree with that yes, the owners should have got more experience. But honestly, you know what you walked into, bro. You walked into this job. They told you that these are the players you're going to be working with. And you're not helping them. You are not helping them. And like I said to you the other day, he'll continuously play people out of position. Why am I seeing Gallagher in the pivot again at Enzo in the 10? Why am I seeing Enzo overlapping the left back? Enzo Fernandez, a guy who's meant to be dictating the game, is running around, sweating. The guy was dripping in sweat because of how much running he was doing. That's not Enzo's game. So it takes me back to the point I said the other day. The guy's got the players. He's got enough quality in this team. He's using them incorrectly. He's using them incorrectly, bruv. It's not good enough. So I've lost my confidence in the team right now, innit? And a big part of that is how Poch has been moving. Yeah, I said strike one after we lost to United.
But there is no strike one. If once my team go below the top half of the table, you should get sacked. I believe the players have potential. I believe your players like Enzo, Caicedo, Badiashile. You know I'm a big fan of Badiashile. There is a lot of Malo Gusto, even like Cole Palmer, all these players, they have potential. And I said that maybe you get the right coach. And I thought Pochettino would be the right coach. But I'm sorry, you're telling me now, strike one. You're telling me there are 2 more strikes for him to be out.
No, I literally just said if he loses to Sheffield, he has to go. He has to go, bro.
Okay, Don. Fiorentina in Serie A, Real Sociedad in La Liga, and I'm giving you mediocre teams, not like Chelsea Football Club who spend a lot of money. Bottom half of the table, the day that you hit that bottom half of the table, he should be sacked in the tunnel. And I don't care about anything because you have players. It's not that you don't. Yes, you have Nkunku injured, you have this injured. Bottom half of the table. If Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, and I can name teams, hit bottom half of the table that day, he should get sacked. He should at least be like, now you're getting sacked today, and he should present a plan. Because you have potential. You have players to win games. You're not winning games, Don.
Exactly. This is my point, Mo. This is my point.
But I see half the fan base. Sorry. There is half the fan base. And listen, we only measure by the fan base on Twitter, on YouTube, the people we see, right? Still saying it's a process. And they keep saying, I had someone on the show yesterday, send a super chat telling me, but Fergie didn't win until this year. Jurgen Klopp didn't win. Are you joking? Are you joking? You're sitting at 12th. He should be. It should be the whole fan base should be saying he should get sacked today and get somebody else because there's a lot of potential. He's wasting it. He is wasting the potential.
He is, and that's the problem that I've got, Mo. He's not using his players correctly right now. He's not. He's really not.
I was wrong about him, to be honest.
So was I. So was I, bro.
Can I throw a question out to the panel here? We'll come to Poch in a minute. You said how low are the standards at Chelsea if Mihajlo Mudryk was looked at as having a good performance yesterday?
On the floor, Terry. On the floor, man. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that if Everton had not got the points deduction, would be sitting in 13th position. And they're there on goal difference, man. You know, with Wolves and Bournemouth. This is unacceptable, man. You know, I can't believe that the whole Chelsea fan base isn't up in arms, man. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And Don, I can't believe you're still giving him another game, man. This guy, Pochettino, I don't rate him at all. I don't get why people rate him. What's he ever done in the game? People talk about, oh, yeah, he's good with young players. Right? And? Do you get a trophy for that? No. He's not done anything. You know what I mean? Went to PSG. Didn't do particularly well there. You know what I mean? Left after 18 months or whatever it was. You know, won a league and a French cup. Didn't win nothing at Spurs. I mean, I just don't see... I don't get the hype. And ultimately, this guy's not the manager. He's not the right man for Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea are 12th on goal difference. He needs to go, man. He needs to go. I think you need a more authoritarian manager to go in there. But it's whether or not the board will accept that. You know what I mean? Because for me, I think they need a manager to go in there and say it's my way or the highway. And I don't know if the board's going to accept that. Because I think they want a bit of a yes man. And Pochettino comes across to me as a bit of a yes man, in my opinion. I think we need to get real, man. They spent £1 billion and they're sitting in 12th position. That is unacceptable.
I want to speak about a certain individual, which is your captain, right? Because I've streamed you many times. You always say you don't involve him into conversations because he's never available. But I see Reece James as our Thiago. The talent is undeniable on his day, but he's never there. And I was only aware of this earlier in a stream I'd done. He's very arrogant and idiotic, to be fair, because apparently he's refusing the surgery he needs for his hamstring. Because we all know hamstrings are a reoccurring injury. It will never get better until you get that surgery. And even once you get that surgery, it can go again. When do you pull the plug? When do you just say, you know what, undeniable talent, but we need to sell him? Because I think the right thing for you to do would be to sell him, honestly. Because he doesn't play. Let's have it right. He just does not play.
Yeah. Listen, with Reece James, it's a sticky situation, man, because I have to look at how the club have managed him over the years. Like, This guy broke through as a right back. You know, we changed to a back 5. We're playing him as a right wing back, or back 3 even. We're playing him as a right wing back. You guys can see that Reece James is a big guy. Do you know what I mean? And if he's running up and down the way he is constantly, he's gonna get injured eventually. You know, the midfield was completely neglected. We had no creativity in there since Fabregas got sold. So all our creativity was coming from him and Ben Chilwell. And now that is detrimental to his health because, as you can see, he was overplayed, bro, up and down, running up and down like that. And I think that played a big part in his injuries right now. We had no backup for him. We had Azpilicueta on his last legs. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, how I kind of looked at this season was like, listen, we've got Gusto in. At least that will help him manage his minutes. Some games he doesn't have to start. Some games he ain't got to play 90 minutes. But again, he keeps breaking down. So boy, I just have to look at the whole season and how his fitness gets on, man. It's not good enough. You know, we're not in a good position right now. But at the same time, we do have Gusto, so I'm not panicking too much because I do think he's a good player. But Reece James, bro, like
on his injury record, Don, just looking at it here, he's had 18 injuries in the last 4 seasons, and in the last 3 seasons, he's had 7 hamstring problems, including this one. And for me, the player that always stands out, 2 players stand out in my head when I think of hamstring injuries this young, this consistently: Michael Owen and Fernando Torres. And there comes a point where they have he's going to have one soon. Body's going to be done. I know that medicine's better nowadays, and I know that it's easier to recover than it was when those players were younger 15, 20 years ago. But there's only so many times that hamstring can go. There's only so many games you can miss as a youngster developing. Before I tweeted this about a year ago. I said, I'm not ability-wise, he's there. I think you guys have got to sell Reece James, cash in on him while the stock is still high, and invest in I just don't personally see his body getting better. I don't see him becoming a more resilient player and being able to play. And again, I look at my club and the mismanagement. Luke Shaw, I don't think he's as talented as Reece James, but another injury-prone player that we have just stuck with for a decade, who we should have cashed in on after he got back from his leg. We probably should have sold him before his leg break, but then a year or so after, we should have got rid of him. But we haven't. We persevered, and again this year, another injury. He's never going to get to the level we thought he would get to 10 years ago. Reece James is even better than him, technically, but his body's going to let him down. And I think you're right in terms of mismanagement. The mismanagement is keeping him because playing at this level and the ferocity that it takes to play for a big club, his body just isn't up to it, mate. His hamstrings are like Amir Khan's jaw, bruv. They're always going to go. They're always going to let you down.
Yeah. But you know what? I think some of the blame has to be on James because yes, he's been mismanaged. But you just have to have a level of arrogance to refuse surgery. I'm not saying it's going to be a guarantee he has the surgery and he will never get injured again, but it will put him in better stead. I don't know, because I'm hearing it was a couple of years ago he got offered this surgery and he was still rejecting it. I think as a Chelsea, if you were a Chelsea fan, you should be annoyed at him as well. Yes, he's been mismanaged, but that arrogant, you can't be that. Especially the most common reoccurring injury as well. You don't come back from them. For me, he's just being an idiot. I'm gonna say it straight. He's being an idiot.
He's not fit enough to play 90 minutes. That's why this season I've said, look, do you know what? Yeah, let's see how he gets on. Now he's got a guy like Augusto in reserve that can come in and help him out a bit, like I said, and share the minutes with him. But already now, first game of the season against Liverpool, he went missing for 2-3 months. Came back again, picked up a little knock the other day against United, couldn't start the game. Do you know what I mean? This is messing up what Poch is trying to do. At the same time, I understand that Poch has been messing up with the lineups and that, yeah. But the other day, you know, I think we would have played better if we had Reece James the whole game. Do you know what I mean? What happens is Reece James comes on, he puts Levi at left back again, and it's the same problems. It's the same problems again, Terry. So yeah, man, it's looking long for Reece, man. If we sell him, I wouldn't argue.
That's another howler Pochettino's had because yes, he's come through the ranks and that, but why give your captaincy to a player that's hardly available?
I said this in the summer. I said this in the summer.
That's on Poch. That's on Poch.
Bro, he gave the captaincy to Reece James and he gave the vice captaincy to Ben Chilwell, bro. These guys are both they're mainly in the injury room than they are on the pitch.
You said that, Don, and I remember Surfer saying the same thing. He was like, the first thing I said when I saw who the captain and the vice captain was, I was like, who's the third captain? Because as a Chelsea fan, he knows those two are never available. And you just made a very good point, and I'm going to give you credit for that. You just said you can't build something consistent on a right back who's never available, let alone your captain. If your captain is never available, how can you build consistency? A team can't be consistent with inconsistent players, whether that's down to form or down to fitness. If you're not fit, you can't be on the pitch. I can't build something. And if you remember, Don, I said it earlier in the season. I think it was maybe right after the Liverpool game when he got injured. I said you guys will eventually get over James because you have a backup right back who will eventually become the starter. And look at us now. 3 months later, he's getting what, his third injury, second or third injury. He's about to be out for a while again.
Season, bro.
And you guys are actually I see your fan base is starting to or stopping to defend him now because you guys are getting frustrated. You're like, okay, this has happened way too many times. I can't make too many excuses for you. Eventually, I need to move on from this. I need to move on and start building something with this team, building consistencies. And I can't have an inconsistent player being a part of it, even though he came through the ranks from Chelsea and all that. And I know you guys love an academy player. Everyone does. But you really can't rely on someone who can't stay fit. When I said the stat the other week that he hasn't played 3 games in a row since 2021, people laughed at me. Look at us again. He still hasn't played 3 in a row since I said that. And he's about to be out for I don't know how long. So, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but they're going to have to – you guys are going to have to –
doing what Man United fans did with Martial, just honestly. To be honest,
Martial got injured very late in his career, though.
No, but when I mean Staffy, like over the past 2 years, I've seen a lot of Man United fans.
that I hear.
Martial props. Oh my God, we can't wait for him to come back, bro. Just give it a rest. You know what? It's done. It's over, bro. Just give it a rest. Rely on someone else. The problem with Chelsea fans have had this over, but I'm not gonna say Don or anybody, but to be honest, a lot of Chelsea fans and Don knows people that when Reece James comes back, we'll do this. When he comes back, we'll be this team. I'm like, bro, you know he's going to come back. He's going to get injured. Move on. But a lot of Man United fans didn't want to move on until Martial now is not renewing the contract. A lot of Chelsea fans aren't moving on from the Reece James train until it's just gonna go away. But you have to move on because you keep putting effort and cheering for him, and he's not available. He's maybe a good player with good talent. I've seen hundreds of talented players that, sorry, for circumstances, their career they didn't fulfill their potential for whatever reason.
Listen, football's a team game, man, and we can't depend on it, man. It's like work, bro. If your colleagues always calling in sick, it's gonna get annoying. You know what I'm saying? You need everyone there to work as a team. And like I said the other day, I'm not saying that we lost the game because Reece James got injured, but he's a key player. He helps us with how we play. Do you know what I mean? Going forward and backwards as well. So it's detrimental to us now, innit? We need to. Something needs to get done, whether he gets that surgery or he gets sold in the summer. I can't defend it because, like I've been saying for time, he's not in conversations anymore. He's not until he proves his fitness.
And this is where your club needs to just act like a club and be ruthless and stop treating players like they're victims. These aren't victim things. Go and buy a right back and just move him on. And say, well, you're not going to get played. Your body ain't good enough. Be ruthless about it. You know, there needs to be so much more of that at clubs like Man United, clubs like Chelsea. You just need to be ruthless with these players. There's this weird, I kind of get it in the normal working class world. You know, if you're off work for a few weeks because you had an accident and they replace you at work, that'd be a madness because people need to pay their bills. These are multi-million-pound millionaire football players who will find work elsewhere at this level. Do you get one? You're not talking about League Two players. If they're not getting paid, literally they can't pay their bills. It's crazy, this mindset. Oh, we can't bring someone else in. What about the development of him? What about the development of your fucking football club, bruv? It's the football club should always come first. And I just feel like in 2023, and ironically, it's the clubs that are failing whose fan bases get attached to players as opposed to the football club.
Yeah.
And I find Arsenal went through it and they're just starting to come out of it. You don't see any real player versus player fights at Arsenal. You see barely any at Man City. You've not really had them at Liverpool until they've fallen off a little bit. The only clubs that have done it in recent years is Man United. Spurs have done it a little in the last few years. And Chelsea, why? Because they're all shit. Clubs create shit fan bases.
You know, it is a Terry. You've got.
I'm not outside of that. I'm involved in it as well. And I look at it and just goes, oh, got to stop. We do have clubs bidding for us. It's ridiculous. Stop defending Crocs at your club. Stop defending players that aren't good enough. Stop defending players that are crying because, oh, you've only just bought me. Why have you bought him as well? Fuck off. Get out of my club, you weak little runt.
You've got a part of the fan base that think if he gets sold, miraculously, he's just going to not have these injuries anymore. You know what I mean? I think it's past that point with him now. I think injuries are part of him now. It's like a Jack Wilshere situation. It's a part of him now. I've accepted it. I've accepted it for a while. This is why I'm just like, I'm over it now. And I'm happy that we've got Gusto. You know what I mean? So whatever happens to Reece, if he gets sold, I'm not arguing it.
It happened a little bit at Man United with Owen Hargreaves. Obviously, he'd done his knees, and we were waiting for him to come back. And he had a shock performance, started once out of the blue against Wolves. Ironically, it was the famous day where Bebe made his debut because he started on the right, Owen Hargreaves, and within 6 minutes he pulled his hamstring and had to come off, right? And Bebe came on. I was there that day. And I remember when we let him go and then he went to City, there's a few United fans that were fuming. Oh, he's going to come good there, going to get back to them levels. I know he scored a good goal there once, but he never was. It was like, no, just give it up. He's done. He's absolutely finished, you know? And I'm not saying Reece James is completely done, completely finished, but yeah, you can't have that many hamstring injuries.
You know another player, Terry, it's similar to DCL at Everton. You know what I mean? They've been crying out for a striker over the last couple of years. But what it is? It's the, like you say, it's the fear that, you know what, if we sell this guy, cash in and actually move our club, that it'll go somewhere else and slam it. It's the same Chelsea, because you know it's like if Chelsea sell Reece James 50 million or whatever, he comes to City and then he never gets injured. It's the fear of selling the player and then them just becoming a world beater. And as a result, clubs usually just keep hold of these players until they run into the ground, man.
FOMO, isn't it? Is it fear of missing out? Fear of your club missing out on that player being good. But how many actually think about Croc? Just forget players who don't have the ability or don't have this or haven't progressed. Like, how many players have actually left there? Everyone's gone, no, they're a Croc, they're finished, or never going to develop, and actually been great. I know people throw out the Arsenal guy that went to Serge Gnabry, but it wasn't like he'd played a lot. Like, I'm talking about how many players have played 150, 200 games for your club, either not been good enough or had injury problems, that have left, gone somewhere else and been amazing. Like, if we could name 5 players that have done that from the Prem, I'd be shocked. So the point is your fear of missing out, but how many examples are there of it actually happening? It's very, very rare. It has to be.
Trying to think.
Someone here says that Salah and De Bruyne, but again, no, I don't, barring Salah, I don't think Chelsea fans were saying KDB isn't good enough to be here. I don't know if that was the case. Iron Robben, no one at Chelsea, again, I was old enough to remember, nobody was saying he's shit, get rid of him, he ain't good enough. He didn't want to be there anymore. But Harry Kane, crazy example. Lukaku, again, PK wasn't sold by Man United because we didn't think he was good enough. He wanted to go back and live in Spain. And Man United said yes. And that happens quite a lot in football when players really want to leave. They've got good relationships. So he wasn't sold because they didn't think he was good enough. Again, your history is so, I don't know where you've got that from. Again, you must
had a youth project going on when Pep came back and he wanted to bring him back. He personally spoke to. He said in the Gary Neville interview about a year or two ago. So,
and even your example with Gnabry, it's not like he left Arsenal and he straight away got good. He had a loan spell at West Bromwich. You know the infamous quote from Pulis. And it was kind of an evolution. He had to gradually get better season by season. It's not like they sold him straight away and he suddenly became good. So you're right. There's not many examples off the top of my head.
Someone here says Tevez. Tevez was only on a 2-year loan at he was on loan at Man City, where West Ham never owned him. Then Man United loaned him. That was the only way we could do it. So again, West Ham wanted him. He started off really slowly, to be fair. I remember that summer when they signed Mascherano and Tevez. They were in the UEFA Cup that year. I don't know how they were in it, but they were. Maybe they won something like the Intertoto Cup or something. And when they signed those two players almost on deadline day, they became the favourites with the bookies to win it, and they were absolutely awful. And then Mascherano went Liverpool, didn't he? And he was class. Yeah. So there's that, I suppose. But Ake is a good example. I think Ake is a decent example. But would you look at him and, I don't know, maybe LB would you look at Ake and go top class, or is he just a good sort of squad player?
I think Ake is top class. He was our best defender last year. And we're all screaming for him to start. So yeah, I think he's top class. I think he's well underrated, Ake.
People were laughing, LB. I was defending him when you lot paid how much you did for him. I said, Ake's a baller, bro.
Yeah, good player, man.
That makes a lot of sense. So again, Sterling is a bad example. He didn't leave Liverpool because they thought it was bad. He left because he thought City had more ambition, and he was right. So a little different. Riquelme at Barca, that's a great example. That's a great what a player he was. I wanted him so many years. He was every time I played Football Manager when he was in his pomp, he's the first player I went and bought.
You know what? I might be clutching at straws here, but would you say Christensen? Went to Barca, did okay. Well, I think won a league there.
Nah, it wasn't bad at Chelsea though. It was just up and down.
Christensen just didn't renew his contract, by the way.
Yeah,
Chelsea,
he was good at Chelsea.
Yeah, you are all right to stay. He just said, yeah.
Did he leave on a free? He left on a free, innit?
Yeah, he
did
said
he?
I have a
Yeah,
better
he left-
offer from
he- yeah, I think
Barcelona.
he
I'm
did,
gonna
he did.
go.
Oh,
He did.
my bad. I thought they sold him. I thought they sold him.
No. They wanted him to stay. Tony Kroos. Did they let him go because he weren't good though?
He
Oh,
won
he
because
asked for too
Madrid
much
came
money
in.
at Bayern Munich.
Yeah. He won
Okay,
the
so
Champions League with them. You can't win the
so yeah.
Champions League and then they say you're shit.
Yeah, that's it. See, I knew Terry played Football Manager. That's how he knows so much. Yeah. Although I remember,
That's where we all get our football knowledge. But to be honest, Football Manager.
that's how I learned about. That's how I learned about young players
Wenger
in other
does.
countries because that's how you learn about a player. Some turned out to be good. On the one year I played, it was at 06, FM 06. Kieran Richardson would invariably, every time I restarted it and started playing it again, he'd nearly always win a Ballon d'Or by 2009. Kieran Richardson. Madness. But then it predicted, I remember when there was a 15-year-old Messi on there and he just became great on the game. So they get some right and they get some wrong. You mentioned earlier, if you lose to Sheffield United, you would sack Poch. Will that be it? Final straw? Like, hey, can you imagine if they lose to Sheffield United, is there an argument to keep him in terms of they need someone to manage these young players. It's a hard job. Could you see that?
I think Agent Poch is doing the Lord's work, and I'm loving every second of it. I wonder if he's still on Levy's payroll. For me, I think Chelsea fans are so entitled. They expect overnight success. And yeah, I get it. They spent £1 billion, but it's a project. So I think
No. Kate, you wouldn't accept this, man. This is where I've got to defend the fan base now, because if Poch was to get sacked today, no one can sit there and say that Chelsea fans are being impatient. Yeah, I've bigged up Poch for certain parts of this season, like in terms of how we look well drilled, right? But like I said, the past month it's gone back to even worse than what I was seeing at the start of the season. And by now, he should know his strongest 11. He should know that he should be playing people out of position. You should know that you're working with young players and, you should be helping them out. And he's doing the complete opposite. And that's why I said the other week, it seems like his little experiment. And what's really pissing me off right now as well, okay, sorry to interrupt you, is like, he is just so relaxed right now. It's like he's got all the time in the world and we're losing these games. Like, it's going to get to a point where you can't keep losing games. Like, I get it's a process. I get it's a project. Like I said, even now, Mo's saying how am I still being patient? I'm saying Sheffield's the dagger for me. That's going to be the dagger for me if we lose that game, right? And I'm
you're going to win against Sheffield. You're playing at home.
I don't know if we're going to win. I don't know if we're going to win.
You know that, right?
I don't know. I don't. No, I don't know. I don't know that, Mo. I don't know that. You can't tell me what I think. I was looking.
Okay, done.
I was looking at the games that we had. Hold on, Mo. Yeah, I was looking at the games that we had. We had Newcastle, who had over 10 injuries. Yeah, we had Man United, who were just Man United this season, right? Obviously, we had Man City. Cool. We had Brentford. We lost that game. Yeah, we've lost to Everton. We've lost to whoever it was that we played the other day. Newcastle as well. Like some of these games that I'm looking at. Yeah, they should have been W's, bro. They should have been W's. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. No one can say. No one can say.
By the way, it shouldn't.
No one can say that right now. If he gets sacked, we're entitled fans, because this is not good enough for a club like Chelsea. The money that we spent, one game a week, we should not be sitting in 12th in December. There's no way.
Let me tell you a scenario. Sorry, LB. Let me tell you a scenario. So, more likely than not, Chelsea will win against Sheffield, right? More likely than not. You play Newcastle.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah. I'm looking from outside and I'm telling you, more likely than not, probability wise, you will have 10 times more odds than Sheffield to win this game. You play against Newcastle, win or lose, they're going to say Newcastle is a good team. You play against Wolves away, you're going to control ball position, you're going to do all of this and that, create chances, not put them away, hit on the counter, lose the game. And you're still in the same place. That's why we're telling you he should be sacked now. Because if you win against Sheffield, it gives him a lifeline again. And again and again and again. And
who do you bring in if you sack Pochettino? Who are you going to bring in?
Done.
I ain't playing people out of position. That's for sure. He's come into this league, yeah, and it just seems like he just doesn't know what he's doing. I'll be honest with you. It just seems like he doesn't know what he's doing, man. Honestly.
Yeah, but who do you bring in?
I could trust something. That's why I was defending him before about the performances and that. We look a lot better from last year. But like I've said, there's only so much, Kate, I can talk about performances. We need results. And now we've taken 5 steps back.
If you sack Poch,
right now.
Don't give Lampard another go. Give Lampard another go.
I don't know who we got.
You don't say it third time lucky.
Do you know what's mad about it?
Who we're going to bring in, man, but he's got to go.
It's hard to say because whoever you say, Dom, people will pull holes in it. Because some will say it's Zerbi. You look at the guy that's currently managing Granola, top of the league as an example.
Girona.
I know their name. I'm just messing. I'm just messing. I'm doing it on purpose.
I'll say the man is hungry.
There's a character in the UK called Del Boy that he gets the words wrong, but it's on purpose. So he say things like, instead of saying I'm not telepathic, he'll say I'm not telescopic. Yeah, it's just like that. It's a joke. But the manager there, is it Miguel? Like, he could do a good job there. You look around Europe, there's some teams that are really performing well and punching above their weight. They could be an example. What there isn't right now is a plethora of what you would consider to be elite managers that have won the biggest leagues, that have won the Champions League, that are available. So it's difficult. The problem you have with Poch, and I thought you'd be playing better football than you are. And I know the approach play looks good, but this is what I think of Chelsea right now. I think you're all fur coat and no knickers. I think it looks impressive. It looks sophisticated, but there is nothing that I just think. There's no substance to it. There's none.
I feel scammed, bro. You know how you feel scammed with Ten Hag? I feel scammed as well, Terry.
But this is the one thing with Poch, right? And we get some things right, we get some things wrong. I thought overall your club would move forward more this season than it has. But the one question mark I always had over Poch is he really this elite manager that people prop him up to be? And in my opinion, he's not. He's a good coach. He coaches good football. He reminds me of Brendan Rodgers. You know, he's an Argentinian Brendan Rodgers. The football can look nice. He'll have some good moments, but I think ultimately, in the cold, hard light of day, he's always going to let you down. Who's the next manager? I don't know. I don't have for me, I like what De Zerbi's done at Brighton, but I understand there's loads of question marks over him. There's question marks over a number of people. Again, it depends on what you're trying to do. I really like Thomas Frank, but again, there is no one available.
They like him. The owners like him.
Could you break the bank and get Diego Simeone? I don't think you'd join. So if you get into this realm sometimes, who would I want? Well, you might want Ancelotti to come back. You might want Diego Simeone, but will they come? And if they don't want to come, then the answer can't just be stick with a manager that's failing. So it's a difficult one because you can't spend what they've spent and be sitting 12th to 13th in the league. By the way, Man United can't be spending what we've spent.
I want to say something on that.
No chance of winning the league. The managers have to be looked at as much as everything else.
Let me just add something to that because you guys mentioned a very good point. I am so tired of this argument of, but who comes in? Bro, I'm not the football director. I don't work for the club. I could look at the football and see that it's bad. I'm like, you know what? This is not good football. Something needs to fix. Whether it's the manager, whether it's the play. Because I think us and Chelsea right now.
Staffy, stop. I've got to interrupt. I totally agree, brother. Totally agree with you.
Oh my God, man.
I was about to roll up my sleeves like I'm ready, brother. Let's go. But listen, no, because I heard this argument a lot, and I had someone the other day saying, if you know so much, why don't you go on the pitch and coach? And I'm like, I didn't say I am good enough to be a Premier League manager, but I am well intelligent enough to say that this manager doesn't look good enough. Now, I don't think it's Don's responsibility to know who is the best manager out there in Europe or in the world that comes in and takes on a project like this as we've never seen before and expected to come in and develop these players and eventually perform and win football games. He could easily sit here because he knows his club and say, listen, according to what we've been doing, this is not good enough. The performance isn't good enough. These players aren't good enough, and we're not picking up enough wins. If your only rebuttal to getting a new manager is that, but who comes in instead? I already know you lost the argument, and I'm not interested in arguing with you because you don't even want to talk about what's going on the pitch and what's going on with these clubs' standards. Because when Man United and Chelsea are sitting here, one of them is in 12th, one of them is sitting in 6th, and last place in the Champions League group and about to get eliminated in 24 hours, then it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that something is wrong.
So who do you want better than Bruno?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. No, let's not talk.
I actually have replacements for Bruno.
We're not going back there, But at the end of the day, Poch came in, He started doing all the talk, saying all the good things, all PR stuff in it, like Chelsea. I know right now it's a new project and that, but we still need to win. And then the other day, he comes out saying this is the reality. We're basically a mid-table club. You're contradicting yourself. And I have to look at him, right? I have to look at him specifically because during the season, I said at the beginning, he's going to dig a hole. He's digging a hole for himself because after game week 3, game week 4, people were calling for his head already. And I couldn't defend him because at the time, the guy was playing Ben Chilwell at left wing. And everyone here could see it wasn't working. So in several parts of this season, he's found a way to do himself. He's caused a lot of his own problems. And that's why I don't have no loyalty towards Poch. He's won me nothing. He's bought me nothing. So I don't owe the guy no loyalty. I wanted him because I thought he was the best guy on
He's got no pedigree either, Don. He's got no pedigree.
I don't owe the guy nothing.
Why you keep saying that?
Wait, Mo, hold on, Mo. Yeah, I don't owe the guy. I don't owe the guy nothing.
Hate for Poch from
Mo, who's the worst manager in the Premier League in your opinion?
At the moment,
Yeah.
Pochettino.
Okay, well, somebody else, because okay, that actually proves the point. Then that actually proves the point
No,
completely.
why do you hate him? But then he said he's the
no,
worst manager in the league.
To be
That's
honest,
hilarious.
the worst
Let-
manager based on expectations is Pochettino. Like,
No. Who is the worst manager in the Premier League?
the guy that coached Sheffield United that got
Okay.
sacked. Bottom.
Oh, he got
I
sacked,
still believe you give him that PSG squad, and he over a 2-season period, he'll win that league. I think you can be a bang average manager and still win that league. So there's nothing Poch has achieved in his career that makes him elite.
No. I'm not saying elite. Here's okay. No, I don't want to dwell for long. What Pochettino did with Spurs is that he actually made Spurs, in my opinion, put their seats at the table of the top 6.
I have a quick answer to that.
The time that he did at Spurs brought them international fans, brought them money, made them Champions League final,
Made them relevant. I get your point.
Exactly. Thank you so
Made
much.
them-
And to do that with some of these players, to develop these players, and I said in the beginning of the season, in my opinion, he was the right one to develop the young players. And the question I asked in the beginning of the season for the people that did shows with me, LB, Don, and Staffy, I said the question would be, is he the guy to take them over the line? And I don't know that because he hasn't done that with Spurs. Now he proved now that in that environment he didn't work. Maybe Spurs environment were more stable. That's my point.
I was going to say, Mo, just a quick answer to that.
But to
Mo, ask him-
completely say he
ask him
didn't
for
do
it.
anything, but
Hold
to
on,
completely
I
say
got
he had nothing, he did a lot of achievement at Spurs.
But Mo,
Spurs
here's the
weren't
issue.
consistently a top 14.
No, I
Momo,
agree
but
with you.
here's the issue.
But the point
One sec.
LB said, sorry to speak for LB, was he's not elite.
Oh,
That doesn't
I
make him
agree-
an
I
elite
agree
manager.
with
got
him
no
on
pedigree.
this. I
He's got
agree
no
with
Sorry,
him.
sorry.
And then
LB,
Mo jumped off at it for some reason.
LB, I agree with that, yeah. But the thing is, we're not right now. This squad, you can see, yeah, as much as we're Chelsea by name, that this squad right now is not ready to win right now. The absolute basics of just developing these young players and getting us in and around Europe, he hasn't been able to do, bro. He hasn't. And like I said before, Graham Potter would have got a lot more time if he was like 6th or 7th or 8th. The guy left us where he left us, yeah, like 12th, whatever it was, before he got sacked. Do you know what I mean? So Poch ain't giving us even the basics, even the bare minimum. He's not giving us, bro. He's not.
Yeah, can I just quickly call out Mo as well? You're talking
Yeah.
about Pochettino like he done all this mint stuff for Tottenham. I got Harry Redknapp's stats here, yeah. He finished 8th, 4th, 5th, 4th.
All
He
right.
finished in the Champions League twice and finished 5th once. According to transfer match.
Pochettino?
I don't know.
Harry
But
Redknapp, sorry.
you made it sound like Pochettino elevated Spurs to this whole new level.
Yeah,
Mo has
I
a point.
think it
Listen, Mo does have a point when he says he
I
can't
actually
elevate
still
it.
think you didn't change any. Like, what do you mean? Like, I still
You
think
said
Pochettino
Poch turned
elevated
Spurs
like,
into a top 16. They were your words. You said that's
No.
what he said.
So listen, by being top 16, he made them always in the Champions League. Did he or did he not? Poch? They were always most of the time.
did.
They were in
He
the
did.
He made
He made him a regular in top 4.
Did he make some of their players like world
World
class?
class. Yeah,
Yes,
he did.
He did. Did he develop youngsters? He did. Did he bring Spurs to the world, international fans by the Champions League run? He did.
He
That's
win
all
a
I'm
trophy.
saying,
Did he
LB.
win a
Harry Redknapp
trophy?
managed.
Okay, he
Gary
did
Neville,
it.
the
And
best
that's
British
why
player of all time,
Terry,
possibly.
I put at the end of every time I talk about Poch, I said, is he the guy to take you over the line, or is he only a guy to develop the youngsters and hand the keys to someone else? And I said that in the beginning of the
Right
season.
That's the
now,
same thing.
right now, when
Yeah,
it comes to
vouch.
Poch, not only he's struggling to get over the mid-table line in the Premier League, bruv.
Thank
He's
you.
like let alone over the line to win a trophy. I've got some super chats here I want to go to. This is from Babukar. He says Poch was set up to foul just like Potter and the next manager. The real problem at Chelsea is the recruitment team who will get away with it again. What are you
Listen.
saying to that, Roms?
I'm like, sorry, I was zoned out a bit of what you're saying.
You weren't listening. Oh, wow. Joking.
You could say it's the recruitment team as well, but well, to what Don was saying at the start of the season, Poch hasn't put himself in good stead. Like I said, playing plays out of position. And he reverted actually back to type yesterday, like he did at the start of the season. You had Enzo in the 10, which, you know what, Mo, you told me months ago, I thought Enzo could play the 10, and Mo said, Rosie can't. And I actually thought he had the abilities to. But he put Enzo back in the 10 and had Gallagher and Caicedo in the pivot. He's doing things to the team that aren't, that's to their detriment. But I can't really say Poch was set up to fail like a Potter, because for me, he's been given more money. So a lot of Potter signings weren't his. A few was his, but I think Poch has had more signings that he's picked than a Potter. So I'd have to disagree with that. I think Poch has had an easier easier run. And I think what's key is the fixtures, because Don will agree. Your first 6-7 fixtures, I'd say bar us, you shouldn't be where you were. Your first 6-7 fixtures, I think Chelsea fans would have said we should kind of be top 10 minimum, probably even top 8. So
Top 10 minimum.
Top 10. Roms.
Yeah, top 10 minimum. With your run of fixtures at the start of the season, you should have been top 10, 100%.
We had West Ham, we had Luton, we had Forest. We should have been in and around top 4, bro, with those fixtures. Yeah, the guy had literally the easiest setup, like one of the easiest set of fixtures, barring Spurs at the start of the season, and he bottled it, bro. And like I said, he's been annoying me because it's like he doesn't realize that he's bottling it. He's like, oh yeah, we've got another week. No, time's running out. We're in December, bro.
I've got a super chat here. It's actually my favorite super chat of the day so far. It says, how dare Poch make 115 million Enzo sweat? Outrageous.
Bro, and you know what it is? Yeah? You know what's even so mad Terry, you know what's even so mad about this? Enzo even had a good game and he wasn't even playing in his role. The guy was working. He's making Enzo run around like Gallagher, bro. I couldn't believe what I was watching again, bro.
You know, all of Pep's players run around.
I get that, but he's played in the wrong.
I'm actually tired of having conversations about Enzo having a good game after a loss.
He's 107 million pounds. He should not.
Mo. What I was seeing Enzo doing is not his role. That's not what we bought him for. He should not have been in that role. Yeah, he should have been in that pivot next to Enzo. He should have been next. He should have been next to Caicedo, bro. In that role, Gallagher was playing. I thought he was
the most creative midfielder in the league.
Yes, if you play him with 2 8s. I didn't say he's the most creative midfielder in the league. I didn't say that.
That's Bruno.
You need to play him if you're going to play him further up. Yeah?
Factually, Bruno was last season. Factually,
3 years running.
Factually,
nothing.
Put that out there.
Enzo running around in the 10. I
checked
believe
it, man. Actually, while you guys would argue.
This is about Bruno. Actually, did Bruno purposely got a yellow card for dissent, knowing he was 1 away from a ban a week before Anfield? Spineless, fair weather captain, not a United leader. I agree with the last 4 words. He's not a United leader. I don't think me and Staffy both agree. We don't think he did it on purpose. But thank you for the super chat, bro. This is an interesting one from Jose. He says, even though you are both trying to be unbiased, it's pretty obvious you two also have your favorites, which is clouding your judgment. Staffy is Martial and Pogba FC, Terry, Bruno, and Rashford. But that isn't true. If you just see the things I've said about Martial.
You forgot one for Staffy, Sancho as well. You know that's Staffy's boy.
Oh, please. By the way, that's a good reminder. You see that video that you posted in the beginning of the rondos that they couldn't pick 4 passes together?
Yeah.
When he was doing half press ups, that shit was all over the internet. I don't see that one on the internet. I need this to trend.
Hang on. Again, let me stop. I don't want to get into fight again. But that video that I shared, I saw it because it's trending everywhere today. So
okay, so keep this, not you, but keep the same energy, because when people said, "Oh, we need hard workers," clearly they're working hard. They're just shit. So can you call them from being shit?
I hear you. I hear what you're saying, Staffy. And maybe this is my issue. I think this is what it really was earlier, right? I've got a big problem with if I've got an issue with people being unbalanced, you don't tackle it by also being unbalanced. So I love you to bits, bro.
You think that? But what I said on my channel before I came here, and I said it's time for Martial to go. I have no emotions towards him. He should have been gone 2-3 years ago. I actually said that on my channel. I understand that, but I was just arguing the history because I've got the revisionism is what I.
I've got an issue with a player not working hard in training. I've got an issue with players not being good enough or trained well enough to do the passing drills. I've got an issue with all of it because all I want is my club to be better. So there is zero player FC in me at all. I'm not attached to these players more than I'm attached to my club, and until we drop player affiliations and start supporting our football club, and more than that, we remember the reason that the Glazers are still here is because of Man United fans, because they're not willing to pull their money away. So Man United fans are have a big part and a big blame in this as well. But people don't like hearing that narrative because they go, "Oh, I'm not responsible." You are responsible, you melts. I don't know what you guys are waffling about. Just came to say Ederson is the greatest Premier League goalkeeper ever. I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know.
But I love the super chat. It's just whatever you guys talk about.
Chelsea are already looking to offload Mudryk to fund the Osherman transfer. You can't buy wins. They just don't get it. We'll see, Sonny. We'll see if they get him. A
poodle
is still a dog. Bad culture consumes all. This is true. But you wouldn't buy I don't know if they're good guard dogs. I don't know. But yeah, you wouldn't buy one to. Yeah, you wouldn't buy a poodle to guard your warehouse, would you? Do you know what I mean? It's horses for courses. I don't know the phrase for that when it comes to dogs, but do you know what I mean? It's true. I've just bought a guard dog for my kids. I've got a German Shepherd because it'll do the job. I didn't buy him a cockapoo because, do you know what I mean? You don't do it. If you can't handle one game per week, he has got to go. Anyone? Yeah, I agree. This is just Kai, lol. I don't quite know what this means, Joe Williams, but thank you.
When we were mentioning players that were sold for being bad, but they ended
Oh,
up being
so I
good.
said Kai. Right.
Okay. All right.
Can you imagine? Kate got to say a lot before you lot took over.
They're talking about the fact that they spoke over me, but it's fine. I'm used to it. I
Sorry,
live with
Kate.
a man.
Sorry,
That's
man.
all right. That's all right, you naughty boys.
I'm deflated, man, right now.
I've been on enough streams with Kate already. When Kate wants to speak, she'll speak. Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Kate ain't sitting there going, "Oh, I can't speak. The boys won't stop talking." Chelsea need a new unknown to grow with the team. Interesting. Yeah, I get you. The Bayern boss arrogantly told Kroos that he wasn't good enough to command that kind of money, then proceeded to win 4 Champions League with Madrid. Equally, though, I did say in the Premier League, but yeah, that's a good example. Hi, everyone. Just got through that Barca loss today. Sorry, Debbie. I'm going to say to Ten Hag and my Xavi, it's time to go. It's time to go. I do miss Claude. What a legend that man was. Oh, I've just pressed the wrong button here. I've lost all my screen. I want to know Kate's view on Poch, her real opinion, and no bias because he is at Chelsea.
I know what people say. He didn't win anything, but then neither's De Zerbi, neither's Thomas Frank, and you're all talking about them. For me, I think he was brilliant for Spurs. I think the Chelsea job is too big for him at the moment. I think he needs another job in the Premier League to get the experience. I mean, every Tottenham fan said he'd be sacked by Christmas. So I like him. He gave us memories I'll never forget. And I really believed we could beat anyone when we had him. But Chelsea are a different team altogether. Their expectations are far higher. The pressure's on him a lot more. And I don't think he's ready for it myself. 10 years time, maybe. But yeah, too much too soon for me.
There we go. Gallagher captain up for sale. Chelsea are a disgrace is what Ike's got to say here.
See? Now they're panicking about FFP. If he gets sold, it's FFP purposes. They're panicking now. This is what you've done to yourself.
It's a good shout. Title race, ladies and gents. Arsenal lose at the weekend. Liverpool go top. City get back to winning ways. And, Villa, people are talking about them as the real deal. Ali McCoy said they are in the title race today as an example. And Spurs threw their hat back into the mix, according to a few Spurs fans online. But 7 points separates first to fifth. I wanted to start, first of all, with the Arsenal game, in fact, because it was a weird one. Good early goal from Villa. I feel that Arsenal then had the majority of the play, missed some big chances. But then, of course, the really contentious non-penalty that wasn't given. And the big question from Gooners is, should this have been a penalty when you look at the one Crystal Palace got earlier on in the day? Could that have changed the game as an example? And I want to throw that question out to the panel. I'll go to LB first on this. Do you think Arsenal were unfortunate to not be awarded a penalty kick early in the second half?
Nah. They need to focus on their own game, man. You know what I mean? We always see Arsenal fans, whenever they drop points, it's always about the referee. Newcastle, how long did they go on about that decision for? 3 weeks it was.
They're still going on about LB.
It's a madness. Like when my team loses, I was trying to focus on my own team's performance. Yeah, and they just sit there, most of them, not all of them. Yeah, I give the respect to some of them.
Oh, I remember you again in the Spurs game. Yes, same. Absolutely.
Bro, I talked about it on that day. Did I drag it out for 24, 48 hours? No. I looked at my own team. Exactly.
Was that a penalty or not? LB, I get what you're saying.
More than you
was that a penalty or not?
I don't think it was clear and obvious.
You don't think?
I don't think it was clear and obvious.
But the Liverpool went back 2 minutes, a minute 45. And it wasn't clear and obvious, LB. We're trying to be consistent here. This one is very similar to the Liverpool one. They went back a minute 45 seconds in the game to check it.
Yeah.
Was it clear and obvious then?
Yeah,
it might not be. It might not be.
Man. You know what I mean? We can have this conversation, but
exactly. So let's have the conversation that it's not consistent, and we move on. Yes. But we say our opinion that if we think the Liverpool is a penalty, we think this one looks similar, right?
Well,
Or
you
wrong?
can say what you want, Mo. I'm not saying you have to agree with me. I'm just saying I don't think it was a clear and obvious error. Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be focusing on my own team's performance. Look at my own team's performance. Do you know what I mean? They had a big opportunity there to put down a big marker. Because let's be honest, the thing that we all talk about Arsenal, we all know they've got good players. We all know that they can get results. It's about the mentality. It's about their bottleness, yeah? Because they bottled the top 4 2 years ago and they bottled the title last year. So when we're looking at Arsenal, we're not looking at Arsenal to blow teams away 4-5-0 when they beat PSV Eindhoven or Bournemouth. We all know they can do that. Yet some reason, when they beat Lens 5-6-0, they all wanted us to come on the show and went, bloody hell, aren't you good? We all know Arsenal are good. We know Arsenal are a good team. What we're looking for from Arsenal is to say, have you got that mentality yet to bridge the gap for the last 2 seasons where you bottled it? And they've got these, I think statistically, the second hardest run this month. And so far, they failed the first test. Now, I'm just saying, that's the major issue. We all know Arsenal are a good team. They went to Villa and didn't win. We got battered. They did better than us. But I'd just be looking at my own team. You know what I mean? They've got a tricky game coming up against Brighton. They've got Liverpool. These are the games for me that Arsenal will be judged on. Not Bournemouth at home, not Lens, not Sheffield United. I expect Arsenal to put 5 past those teams. They're a very, very good team. It's when the mentality needs to really step up a gear that we need to see Arsenal doing it. And unfortunately, they didn't, man.
What are you saying, Kate? I understand they definitely missed their chances, and I think that their fans, and I've seen a lot of their fans on their match reaction, were calling out that lack of clinical edge. But at the same time, when you see Palace awarded a penalty for the identical thing 4 or 5 hours earlier, is it right that Arsenal fans, in their view, again, call out another inconsistent decision? You know, we saw after the Newcastle game, first game back, the smallest little push in the back of Alisson by a Man City player, and it was disallowed when the Newcastle goal went, and they said, well, we can't possibly tell how much force was used, therefore it can't be a foul. Do you understand why some gooners feel they're not getting the rub of the green? Or are you at a point as a Spurs fan where you just don't care?
I don't care. That's the truth. I think it's baffling. It's the first time on the top 6 with no gooners. And I've just, it's a bit strange to me. They've been chirping all season and they lose a game and they're nowhere to be seen. At the end of the day, we can all cry about referees every week. There's no consistency. We all know it. Liverpool got done at our place. We all know that was a goal. There's terrible decisions every game, week in, week out. What's the point of sitting here crying about it? Everyone says it evens itself out at the end of the season. They should have done better, and then they wouldn't have had to rely on a refereeing decision. It's as easy as that. I thought Villa were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. For me, I actually expect Villa to finish above Spurs this year. I thought they looked absolutely mustard. And Egal was on your post-match reaction crying like a little baby saying it's corruption, which is just the funniest thing I've ever heard. But like I say, we can all sit and cry about referees because we've all had these decisions go against us. We've all felt hard done by, but the fact is, if you're clinical, you put your chances away, then you don't have to rely on the referee to bail you out.
Exactly. Okay. Why are the fans not moaning at Odegaard? Yeah.
I find it baffling.
5 yards that he could have put into the bottom corner. The guy took about 10 years to set himself up. Why not moaning about that? Why not moaning about some of the other players? We all get, as Kate said, decisions.
You know what I mean? There was 2 chances. There was 2 chances for Odegaard. The one he set himself up and the one that got cut back. He should be hitting the target.
Like I said the other day, from time Havertz was arguably your best player. Your other guys didn't step up. Saka was crap. Martinelli was crap. Odegaard was crap. And it's a theme of their season. A lot of these players haven't been performing like they were last year. Do you know what I mean? So they like to focus on decisions rather than speaking about their team and criticizing their star players. That's what Arsenal fans do.
You know what it is, Don? I think it was the last top 6. I said this game going in, they're going to show if they're going to be that team where wow, look, they're the only team that went to Villa and picked up 3 points. They're very serious. We're going to take them up that extra level where now we're going to take them even more serious because we do know they're title contenders. At least most of us do. But there's that next level where City just lost there, but we went and picked up 3 points. These are 3 big points that are going to put us on the map. And instead of, as you guys all said correctly here, instead of calling out, listen, shit happens, I get it. But instead of calling out Odegaard for missing 2 absolute clear chances They're sitting here and talking about referees. And what's so baffling is that I think it was you, LB. You mentioned the Newcastle decision, or someone else said something like that. When Newcastle got hard done by in the Europa in the Champions League against PSG with that penalty, they all came on this space and they start laughing. Hold that. That's for the Newcastle game where it should have been a penalty, a foul on Gabriel and that goal, blah, blah, blah. But then they're back again, getting another decision that's against them, where they clearly have proven to them that everyone gets done by, even Newcastle, where you made fun of them, and they come out and they say it's a conspiracy. How's it as a conspiracy when you were just laughing at another team for being hard done by and potentially getting eliminated for the Champions League over a penalty decision? These guys, and I said this, and they get upset with me, and they say Staff hates Arsenal. I don't hate Arsenal. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that I rate. But when you come out and you complain and cry and say it's a conspiracy, instead of saying, why did Odegaard not finish his dinner? Why did my attackers not score enough today? Why did we concede a goal? Instead of calling all that out, when you want to be champions, you want to sit here and complain about the referees all the time. To me, that shows me that most Arsenal fans are not ready to move on to that elite mentality where, like, listen, we're not always going to get things our way. There's going to be rough days because of the refereeing decisions, injuries, whatever it is. But you know what? We are going to be champions and we're going to get over it. They didn't do that.
Staffy, what it is,
did, but not the majority.
Staffy, they can't act like they can't. Hold on, Ramsey. Yeah, just one. I'll let you come in. Yeah, they can't act like they've been here before, bro, because it's been about 2 decades, bro. That's what it is. They haven't been here before. This is what happens. This is what happens.
There's something LB said, which is true. The Lons, battering the Lons, Bournemouth and whatnot. We expect that, but when I look at Arsenal's test this season, away against a Chelsea team that we all deem that's rubbish, couldn't get over the line against them. I'm going to give them credit for the City game because they found a way. Whether it was late, whatnot, they found a way. Spurs at home, they drew. They still got to go away to us. That's yet to be seen next weekend. They've got to go away to City. They've got to go away to Spurs. These are the games I'm looking at where I really think Arsenal are about it. All these other teams that they're expected to be. I know you can only beat what's in front of you, but I'm looking at the test they've had Newcastle away as well. They've not really passed them so far. They've genuinely not passed them so far. And to win leagues, you have to go away to these big grounds and pick up some points. So I agree with LB. I still need to see that they have the famous words of Troy Deeney, the cojones to actually go all the way and win this title because they've not passed some of these tests, honestly. And even United at the Emirates, and I know Staffy and Terry might agree on this. Yeah, they beat United in the end, but United gave them a game up until that Garnacho disallowed goal. United gave them a game. So it's not like they've been blowing the big teams out of the water. So I still need to see more from that Arsenal team.
Based on what you said there, and there was also yourself, Staffy, a little bit earlier around, maybe being one of the only teams that goes away to Villa this year and gets a win. Do you feel like the games against Villa and then the forthcoming match on the 23rd against Liverpool, are they almost season defining? Almost, if they get beat by Liverpool, will a lot of people just doubt them? Will they themselves, deep down inside, doubt they'll be able to win the league? How defining do you think these two games, one that they've already lost, are going to be?
I think it's important because especially because they lost this one. If they would have won this one, listen, not a lot of teams go to Liverpool and expect to win. That's completely fine. But when you're looking for moments in the season where, like, yo, this is the moment we believed we were going to win the title. This is the moment where, we thought we're good enough. This is the moment where we thought we're better than Liverpool. We're better than City. These are the moments that I'm talking about. And you didn't do that against Villa for one reason or another. Now you have another chance to go and do that because these are the games that make champions. You don't become champions. Listen, I understand you still have to beat who's ahead of you. So if you're playing all these lower half of the table teams and you're beating them, that's all fine. Most champions already do that. When you historically look at all the champions, they always win that. But it's the big games when you go to Anfield and you at least leave with a point. When you go, listen, Villa's never a big conversation like we're having right now. But in the context of what's going on right now, that undefeated at home, they've won every game. This was a big game. They would have been, that's what I'm saying. They're the only team that could have left and saying, we are the only team that went to Villa Park and picked up 3 points this season. No one else can say that. Not even the treble champions that just won the league, City. So these are the things that I wouldn't say it's season defining, but they're definitely very big. They leave a big impact on the season eventually. Because when you look back at the end of the season where the title is about to conclude and you look at the teams that are like, who had these big defining moments that carried it on, and they could go all the way, is these moments. And they need one of these moments so far. So I think it's very important to go and get something from
So
Liverpool.
why can't the big defining moment is winning against City for the first time in 8 years? Why
That
can't
is
we
one
have-
of them. There you go. That's one of them.
Alright,
I
so
just
why-
forgot about it right now.
Well, in my opinion, actually, Man City won the league last year, losing to Liverpool at Anfield, losing to Man United, whatever the circumstances are, losing to Spurs. I think Arsenal, we're being very harsh, and I think we're putting Arsenal under the microscope and leaving Manchester City, because they have the know-how to do, and they did it before, and Liverpool the same, because Liverpool are scraping wins against Sheffield, are doing the same thing as Arsenal. Arsenal have the best defense in the league. Yes, they consider the same goals as Liverpool, but they consider the least chances in the league. Their offense hasn't kicked on, but they are starting a little bit to kick on now since Jesus came back. Their offense scored 4 against Luton away from home. Yes, they conceded 3, questions to be asked there, but at least the offense got it right. I think we're being harsh on Arsenal. And it's these games. I agree with LB about the next games that will show us the true color of what they can do in this season. But to be honest with you, I think we're over criticizing Arsenal because they lost to Aston Villa, and I actually think they played better than Manchester City played against Villa. Yes, Manchester City had
That wasn't
absolutely-
difficult, Mo. We were absolutely abysmal. It's not
Okay.
It's not.
But
It's not.
you
we're not
are
being
the
overly-
best team in the league.
Yeah, but we're
and
not
you
being overly
played bad.
critical. Mo, we were trying to judge a team that people are saying should be winning the Premier League. No one's saying that the loss against Villa is going to
Are
completely
they
derail
second or
Arsenal's.
third favorites for you?
1 second, let me finish. No one's saying that the loss
Cut me
against
off,
Villa.
and then you're
Bro, no one's saying,
Fine.
yeah, that the loss against Villa is going to derail the Arsenal season, right? Oh, people are just judging it and saying Arsenal had a huge opportunity to
Yes.
go to Villa and put out a huge statement, and they didn't. That doesn't mean they're not going to win the league. They could still
I
win the league.
actually think that Villa were favorites to win the game. Actually, Arsenal, I salute them for the way they played. Yes, Odegaard is the one who lost them the game. They could have won the game if Odegaard stepped up. I've been critical of Odegaard from the beginning of the season. But Arsenal still created chances. They defended well. They limited Villa after they scored. They limited their chances massively. Still, Villa created chances against City, the best team in the league, arguably the best team in the league. I think Arsenal played well against Aston Villa. They didn't play terribly as people want to put it out. Some individual performances weren't great, but they played.
But no
all
one
right.
said that. No one
I-
said
I-
that.
I-
No
I
one
don't
took
think-
this
I
game.
think everybody's criticizing them.
No. Mo, you got to understand. LB said it perfectly right now. We're holding them to different standards. We're talking about them potentially being champions.
the
We're not
standards?
talking about what I just said, to being champions. That's why he's
Champions.
saying, he's talking about so in the context of the game, to go and beat Villa when we all saw the game and they had enough chances to win it and they didn't. This is why he's sitting here and saying the stuff that he's saying. He's not saying, oh, now they lost to Villa, nah, they're not going to win the league. We're not saying that at all. We're not saying they're a shit team. At the end of the day, they did play better than City. We all saw that. But this is criticism in terms of you had a chance to do something that no one else did, and that solidifies you even more as a serious title contender, and you missed it. So to him, he's like, I still need to see more.
Are
And you
City
can't blame him.
contenders?
You're gonna go back and say, but they lost to them. I get you. They're title contenders, but are we not having conversations about City dropping off this season?
Okay, so they are dropping off, but Arsenal.
Mo,
okay,
I don't think they even
I'll
played
give
that well, to be honest. I don't think they even played that well. I think they played better than
They
Villa.
played-
I think they
Guys,
played better than Villa. And
Which
they created
was
good
enough,
chances.
right?
Guys,
Yeah,
I want to go to some super chats here on this, and I want to go to a tweet that Don just sent to me. Charles here says champs need to win these games, but Liverpool drew to Chelsea, lost to Spurs, drew at City. City lost to Arsenal, drew with Chelsea, Spurs, and Liverpool. So none of these teams can be champions according to this weak analysis.
The big difference, Mo just
I
said
won.
it. Not long.
I won.
No. Big difference, Mo. You literally just said it a minute
No
ago.
fight. I
See,
don't want any fighting on this channel today, boys. So keep it calm.
the difference is, and I think most of us will agree, until we see Arsenal do it, City and Liverpool have been there and done it. Until we see
100%.
Arsenal do it, and Mo literally just said it. That's why I was coming with that
100%.
narrative.
If that's your argument, I give you that. 100%.
That is my
100%.
argument. Arsenal. That's it.
Because we know that Liverpool and Man City did it before, yes. But because the performance that Arsenal are doing, they're not doing the best now at the moment. But their offense is clicking, their defense have been strong. They are still in the mix, and I think they are one of the favorites. Come on, just like them, City and Liverpool are together. But people want to say, no, you are certain. You are not even in the. And I've seen it a lot, and you guys know what I'm talking about. We have seen a lot of
hear
people
you.
say that.
Yeah,
I would like a
Nervous
quick
just said
answer from
that.
somebody on this super chat that says Terry asked, was it a pen or not? And it devolved into every Arsenal fan not calling out their team, which is factually incorrect. Most fan channels, we all said we weren't clinical. This is jarring. Just very quickly, was it a pen?
No.
See,
Nah.
go back
No,
to the same
there
question.
we go. No, it's fine. Can you name a specific people and give examples rather than some, than some, they, and all?
Kate
People get
mentioned
upset.
Igao coming on the channel and crying after the
Yeah.
fucking
What
match.
part
What
of
more
the
of an
question
example do you want?
didn't the panelists understand? The question was about the referee's call, not about the player performances. But I think it's listen. In fairness, like LB and a few others have said no to it and then gone to what that you think they should be speaking about. So I think I do feel that both things were covered. As an Arsenal fan, we missed too many chances that game, is what Sam Lowe says here. Mr. Yazin says, did LB give Arsenal credit when Arsenal beat their team, asking for a friend?
I'll give you a bit of credit, but this is what Arsenal fans want. They want to be praised by other fans, mate, rather than just focusing on themselves. Because they've not been in the title race for so many years, other than last year, they now want this praise and credit. It's like when they beat Lons 6-0 like last week or whatever. They want everyone to sit here and be
The
like,
thing is,
"Oh,
They
amazing!"
want a lot of validation. Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, I've never understood this. If you support a club and your club are doing well, don't care what the rivals think. F what your rivals think. You don't need validation from them. If you know your team's doing well, just be happy for your team. You don't need to seek validation from rivals.
Because they're in the mud for so long. It's because they're in the mud for so long. That's why.
This super chat here says, what LB? We can't speak about Arsenal being poor in front of goal and being robbed by officials.
You can speak about the officials. I just feel that Arsenal fans, more than any fan base, moan about referees more than anyone else, and then speak about the players. You can do what you want ultimately. Like you can do whatever you want.
Bro, just watch the match
Free
reaction on
world.
the terrace.
You can
Watch
do
the match
whatever you
reaction on the after the show. I'll tell you, everyone who's asking that question, when this show ends, go back and watch the match reaction on this very channel. It was here. Why are you acting like we got this evidence from a different channel? Like I don't even get it.
Bro, you got to stop generalizing Arsenal fans in one boat. Some of us are more sensible.
Facts, man.
If I will say this about the panel
LB
as well.
literally said some. He didn't say all. LB
I said the
said
same.
some.
I will say this as well. Igao obviously called it out, and I asked him questions about it. But we had a lot of people that came on, Souls being one of them, that just ripped into the players. To be fair, by the way, Gerard Gillett, referee, is openly a Liverpool fan. I found that to be a conflict of interest. I just feel that these refs have a double standard for Arsenal.
There it
is
is.
what Arsenal_P
To be
says.
fair, just quickly, you saying about that guy saying generalising all fans. When I first come on here, I was like, everyone was mocking me that I said we were going to win the league. Very few Tottenham fans ever said those words. So
It just happens. There's a reason it happens. I'll tell you off camera. There's a reason it happened. Evening, Terry. If Liverpool scored a goal, would the referee stop the game to give a penalty to Crystal Palace? There's a protocol for that. And if Liverpool would have scored and then they went back and it should have been a penalty, the goal would be disallowed. I remember listening to that protocol be discussed when VAR first came in. So yeah, it is. I think they just got to be quicker at saying, look, we're really reviewing this pen. We think it's one. Stop the game. That'd just be the easiest thing to do. If we don't pick points up away at the top 6 teams, we are not in a title race. Big up Terry in the panel. It's interesting. What I mean, football may have changed. I look at it this way. It's Fergie always used to say, try your best not to lose away at your biggest rivals and beat them at home. That is atypically like a really good formula to go for. I still think that counts now, especially when you've got multiple good teams. What team is having a season-defining wins then? None. Is what Tony's got to say here.
LB can tell you here for the past 3 years how many season-defining moments he's had from some wins. He's the most recent winner here, so I'm pretty sure if you ask him, he'll name a couple. But thank you for the super chat.
Enter on the pitch says, ha ha ha. Meanwhile, Rodri FC is struggling. Thank you. We call out the players. Arsenal will never win the Premier League because they'll never get the 50-50 decisions. That's why some people think Arsenal is more likely to win the Champions League. We get fair decisions in the Champions.
8 penalties.
Big up Enigma. Big up Enigma. I like you fighting your corner there, my G. In terms of the title race as well, though, Liverpool have gone top. And I know what you think about this, Roms. I want to throw this to Mojenda to begin with. I've seen a few channels talk about this today. Are Liverpool now the title favourites?
No, they aren't. They are scraping wins and they're still less than City. And I think their performances aren't really convincing, but they are the most consistent team in the league, but they aren't title favorites. I still think Arsenal and Man City have bigger chance of winning the league than them. They need a DM massively. They still concede so many chances. They have quality up top, but also Darwin Núñez shouldn't be the forward when you want to win a title race. When you want to win a title, it's very obvious. It was obvious last game. And they kind of overrated some of their players they have. But in my opinion, Liverpool are doing good. I'll give them 15% chance of winning the title. They are scraping wins against teams that should be blown away, but they're playing consistent football at least. I think Liverpool are in the title race, but they aren't favorites, of course. Still, Manchester City are favorites. When Kevin De Bruyne comes back, I think they will be all right. Pep Guardiola, even though they aren't the same, I think they are title favorites. I think Liverpool are third in the rank in terms of the title. Mohamed Salah is actually not performing well in some games, but putting out numbers, which is what you need from your superstar. So they have everything to win the title other than the DM because they are conceding chances. And still, Jurgen Klopp isn't finding the right formula in the game. He keeps changing Trent right back, center mid, Tsimikas, Gomez on the left side. He's not finding the right formula without Robertson. But they are consistent, but they aren't blowing teams away. So I think Liverpool are there, but they aren't convincingly, oh, we are favorites to win the title. It's not theirs to lose. It's not theirs to lose, in my opinion. Still City's to lose, in my opinion.
The thing is, right, I agree with everything Will was saying. I was at the game on Saturday with Ben. Big up Ben. He's been on the Terrace here and there, right? And if we're being honest, I was on a stream earlier, and Jose Mourinho has a famous saying: just because you're in possession of the ball doesn't mean you're controlling the game, right? And Crystal Palace implemented a playing style that we couldn't break down. We'll pass it side to side, we'll dominate possession as I expect, but we could not create any clear-cut chances. And there's actually a problem at the moment. Our attack in the last 4 or 5 games, bar the Palace game, they've actually been misfiring. Because Núñez, I have to admit, I'm an advocate for him, but he's not been good enough for recent. Luis Diaz, since that injury at the Emirates last season against Partey, he can't beat his man. I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but he cannot beat his man. He tries to come inside all the time. He never tries to go on the outside. He just tries to come inside. And Salah, like Mo said, Salah's always going to leave with something, a goal or assist. But I look at the game before this, Sheffield, it was Van Dijk scoring and it was Szoboszlai scoring. The game before that, which I believe was 4-3, it was Endo, McAllister, and Trent, 2 goals. Against City, it was Trent scoring. It's been our midfield and our defence that have been getting us the points. And you can look at that as silver lining. Because when you think of Liverpool, you think they're attacked in today and we've got a plethora of attackers that win us games. But recently, it's actually been our midfielders. But there's a few players I have to criticise as well. Because Ryan Gravenberch, I know he's had a very big injury and he had to kind of feed it. We had to kind of slowly integrate him in the team. And I rate him highly before the fans say I don't rate him. I think he's quality. But he started to gas out quite early in games. I'll say 60th, 65th minute. He's not as energetic. He's not as industrious. And even Szoboszlai, I know he scored midweek against Sheffield, but he's had a dip in form. Ever since the Luton game, start of November, he hasn't been that good. And our fans don't want to hear this, but Szoboszlai, yeah, he scored the midweek goal, but he's been in and out of games. Yes, he's going to be industrious. Yes, he overlaps Trent. Yes, he's kind of taking on that Henderson role as he's covering Trent, but Szoboszlai haven't been that good. And I think the defense as well. Tsimikas I've never really rated. Jarell Konza, I think the occasion kind of got to him. He just had one of them games where he needs to be taken out the limelight. I think Van Dijk was good. I don't know you got sports on Van Dijk, but I think he was good. Yes, he made that. You could say silly foul on. Was it Mateo or Odward? I forgot. The VAR, the one that got overturned. But Trent, I have to be honest as well. I can't be on him too much because of the recent games. But Trent's had one of his worst games. He didn't have one of his better games. And this is why I love that Alisson was straight back in the fold. Because there were some Liverpool fans that were saying, you know what? Let's save Alisson for United. Let's save him. I'm like, no, if he's fit, you play him. Because if Kelly was in goal them 2 games, I think we lose that game. I think we concede both them goals. So I honestly believe Alisson being back is a godsend. And the biggest compliment you can give Alisson is that we play the way we play because of him. But I think if Palace don't get that red card, and if I'm being honest, I don't think it was a second yellow. If one of my players did that, I'll be
Harsh,
fuming.
harsh.
Thank you, because Tom was all like, so like, no, it's a red card. Like, what?
No,
Of
I'm
course
sorry.
Tom's gonna say that, man. If it was the other way around, he'd be like, "That's." If it was the other way around, Mo,
And
yeah, Tom would not be
Hossam,
saying
we
it.
were at
Tom
Hossam
would not be
yesterday
saying
channel,
that.
and I told him this is a
You mentioned two shameless
committed
people. Are you
Listen.
surprised?
Listen,
You
listen.
mentioned two
Big,
shameless
The
big,
people.
guy committed two
Big up Tom, bro. Big
fouls,
up Tom, man.
and they
Big up,
wanted
big
the
up.
second one
Oh,
to
big
be
them
the
up, but
second
they're
yellow.
shameless.
You
I'll
know,
tell them
big up
that.
them two, but I'm sorry. If that's one of my players do that and they got a second yellow, I am fuming. So Sam and Tom, big up both of them, but they're entitled to their opinion. But that
Not
was a
big up,
second
because
yellow.
they're shameless.
But you know, and I think if Andre Ayew stays on, I said it to the guy next to me, we're not winning this game. We're honestly not winning this game. But the minute he got sent off, I know my club. We have that siege mentality. I have to give Klopp credit here, because that change of Harvey Elliott and Joe Gomez coming on, we were decimating their right-hand side, honestly. Decimating. And I need to give big credit to Harvey Elliott, because every time he started a game or come off the bench as that kind of impact sub, he's been excellent this season. Excellent. And him and Joe Gomez down that right, but for me, they won us that game. They honestly won us that game. And listen, I'm going to be shamed. We didn't play well, but we got the win. There's nothing like a last-minute late winner away from home. There's nothing like it. So happy to be top of the table. Do I think the way we're playing sustainable? Yet to be seen. Our next two fixtures in United and Arsenal, I do think we will win. Arsenal will be tough, but I do think we win both games. And if we can go into the new year top of the league and then strengthen in January, hopefully, it's looking good for us. It's looking good.
Certainly going to be an interesting title race. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Spurs won yesterday, though. I know you've never been someone that looks at yourselves as being in a title race, but you demonstrated that with the injuries, you are able to manage games well, score the goals, keep teams out. I know you conceded late on. How impressed were you yesterday, Kate, with Postecoglou's approach to the game and with the victory?
Yeah, I think it's the first time this season we've seen a proper Postecoglou 90-minute display. I thought we were dominant, excellent. Players that I've written off previously stood up to the challenge. I thought Ben Davies had a great game. I never thought I'd ever say those words. I thought Richarlison had a good game. Never thought I'd say those words either. Sonny was magnificent yesterday. I mean, I heard Jamie Redknapp say if we hadn't have had any injuries, we'd still be sitting top of the league. And people can laugh. I don't know if I believe that's true, but I do know that when Ange gets the players in that he wants, and when we get the players back that we need, we're going to be a bloody good side. And I think we showed that yesterday. Newcastle weren't without doubt below par. They looked tired. They will bang off the pace. But no, I'm not taking anything away from Spurs. I thought we was excellent yesterday.
You were very good.
They're one of the teams that you like to watch. Yeah. It's amazing, like how he just changed the way some of the Pedro Porro, the way he played football in that game was absolutely amazing. Like we gotta praise him when we see something that we should praise. Like just people just don't want to praise things. Go ahead, Kate. Sorry,
Don was saying about Endo running around the pitch. Our players don't stop running. Don't care what position they play in. They do not stop running from the minute that whistle goes.
Sorry, yesterday recovering the ball in his 18.
I mean, are any of you upset about your players sweating? Is that an issue amongst? I'm joking, Don.
Do you know what I mean? The work rate on our players, the engines that they've got. Saar was incredible. I thought Kulusevski's so much better in the middle. Richarlison won the ball back in defending, and then that actually led to his goal. I just think Ange Postecoglou really gets a lot of stick, and we've been on a terrible run, so it was always going to happen. But this guy is an experienced manager. He's been doing it for nearly 30 years, and I can see good things. And I had Jamie Carragher tweeted straight after asking how much a season ticket was for Spurs, because he said no matter whether you love them or hate them, they're by far the best team in the league to watch. Yeah. And I agree.
I do have to disagree, though. A lot of people in my fan base say that it takes 3 to 4 years to create a style of play. So I don't quite know how it can't be true what's going on right now at your club.
You know what? This is why I'm pissed at you. Right? That we wasted our time arguing about Bruno and Marcel when we could have been talking about this, because what Kate just said about her manager is absolutely spot on. The guy has injuries. He has his main signing of the summer, his number 10 out. And he found a way. Listen, I called him out last top 6, and now I'm going to give him praise because he did absolutely what I called him out for. I said with injuries, with suspensions, you still need to find a way to get results. Not
Mhm.
only did he get a result, he got a result in his way, and what a result it was. And to what Terry just said here, this whole thing that there's a timeline of when a style of play is going to appear is delusion. It's not a real thing. Okay. The guy had to put Kulusevski in the 10. Last game, he played him on the wing. He doesn't have Madison there. And you guys still put in a good performance. And you haven't had your full squad. This myth that you need a whole squad to have a style of play, it helps, but it's not the only way. So when you look at Spurs, when you look at Villa, these guys are examples that we should be. It's crazy that I'm living in a time where I'm using Villa and Spurs as an example, and I'm a United fan because I'm looking at them and I see they had managers that had the same time. Sorry, they had less time than my manager. They had less money than what the club has given my manager, and they have applied what the manager wants to do. And at the end of the day, if you apply what the manager wants to do, there's no timeline to when you could achieve that. It took you guys, what, 3 months? And it took Emery about 14 months. So,
having said that, I mean, Emery's Villa have been playing this football from the start. It's just getting better and better. I think Big Ange, what I liked about what they did yesterday, Tottenham, was game management that he's introduced. At the start of the second half was a prime example where they sat back for 10, 15 minutes with a low block, reserved some energy. They didn't attack in the first half as much as they did in the Villa game. And I think that was by choice. They attack. Maybe they scored or didn't for a few times. And then it was like they sat back. They were a little bit reserved. They maintained energy. They didn't basically like burn themselves into the ground in the opening 50, 60 minutes and then fall off the edge of a cliff. Because if you do that, you're only 1-0 up. If you do that and it's 0-0, you're in trouble. It's fine when you do it and you go 3 or 4-0 up because you're probably not going to lose. But the Premier, you can't guarantee you're going to score those goals. So you have to manage the situation so you're not in that precarious position. I thought they did a great job yesterday. And that's why when I see Man United fans defending Ten Hag, it kind of annoys me because I would understand with the injuries we've got if we're not able to win a league title. But not being able, look at the footage we showed earlier, not being able to pass and move the ball quickly, there's no excuse. Like, the reason I don't defend any of the players at the moment, there's no excuse for not running and working hard. Did Kulusevski join the club thinking he was going to play as a number 10? No.
Yeah.
Did Son moan when he got moved into the number 9 role? No. Did he moan when he got moved back out to? Did he moan when he got moved back out to the left-hand side? Oh, I want to be the main man. I want to be the striker. We got a problem at our club, and there's no plan, poor recruitment, managers that don't know what they're doing. But we have a player issue where players are far too arrogant, and they think they, Sir Alex said it right, and I think Spurs are getting this perfect at the moment. Very early days, of course. As soon as a player thinks he's bigger than the club, he's got to go, and it's why I said the other day, I am not adverse to any one of these Man United players being sold because I think there's a genuine problem in there. And the clubs that are doing well don't have those player issues. Their managers have a philosophy and they make it work straight away. And I have to say, I'm looking at Villa, I look at Spurs, I look at Newcastle, definitely, City and Liverpool, always that. I'm jealous of all your clubs, genuinely jealous of how much better run you are than us. And when you consider we spend more than all of you, it's just like rubbing salt and vinegar into an open wound. It's just embarrassing to see. And as much as there's some banter to throw out there and have, it's just painful, genuinely painful.
But one of the things I wanted to talk about yesterday, actually, Ange Postecoglou finally learned that it's not who we are, mate. We need to adapt, mate. That's what he did.
Yeah, but that's not true.
It's literally not.
Mate.
It's not who we are, mate. It's we need to adapt, mate. He learned. Kate. What we criticize Ange is the way he says it's the way we play football, the way he played against Chelsea when he went down to 9 men. Yesterday, as Terry said, I actually wanted to mention this. He literally gave Newcastle 70% of the ball in the beginning of the second half, said, you know what? Come and try to attack us and we'll hit you on the counter. That means he's learning. He's adapting, and it's not who we are, mate. It's what adapting.
He definitely did. He did. It's funny. Spurs fans, it's really weird. And City fans did this to me yesterday on the show as well, I'll tell you, but that's praising him. But some Spurs fans were offended by that praise because I think there's almost this. Go on, Kate.
No, you know what it is? It's this whole, it does piss me off. I'm not going to lie because it's this whole idea. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's this whole idea that Ange is set in stone and it's who we are, mate. But right, everywhere he's gone, if you watch him, he always tweaks the system slightly.
So, you're right. So Ange isn't like that. What I think fan rivals are calling out is that the media gaslit everybody into trying to believe that he's only going to play one way and he'll never change, and that's what everybody should do. We all knew
Yeah.
that was bullshit. That's what's being
Exactly.
called out here. Is of course he's going to adapt and kind of do things a little differently. Hamza, by the way, and the City fans that come on their match reactions, they got annoyed at me yesterday. I exploded like I did with Staffy because I said one thing that I love about your football club, and I'm so jealous of, is that because they were saying that the likes of Nunes and Phillips, etc., their purchases are just probably not quite good enough for City, in their opinion. And I said, what's so good about your club, though, if you're right, is how quickly you replace flops and players that leave. I said, generally within a window or two, everybody gets replaced. They were telling me I'm wrong and that you barely replace players. You don't sign players very quickly. If flops come in, you have to persevere like everybody else. And I'm sitting there thinking, what fucking planet are we living on here? Like, it was so strange. I lost my head on that one as well because I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. Anyway, Will Stewart's here. He says only the bloke with the green top called out the players. The rest cried on the terrace. Now the chat is crying about being generalized. Manager, players, fans, crybabies. He's calling out Arsenal there, people. He also says here, Will, Mo wants me to say something nice about Arsenal, and so he does. He says Ben White has a nice line in his beard. Does look weird, Ben White, to me. Strange. Like it's kind
He
of
looks like a WWE wrestler with the tattoos and the fake tan.
You know what it
He
is?
really
Like,
looks like
you
The
may not be
fake
aware of
tan
this.
is what gets me, bro.
Nah, he looks like he's trying out to be in Towie, bruv. Like he looks like a Towie character.
I think Lee gonna have the best one. He said he looks like a club rep in IB.
It does. Remember back in the day, Hollister, when he used to stand outside Hollister, like with the top up and that. Yeah, like he looks like a Hollister model.
Bruv, he reminds me of like you know Rylan from X Factor.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like Rylan, bruv. Like he's got that Rylan look about him. Like, completely immaculate, dyes his eyebrows. Like fair play to the man. Like do what makes you happy, bruv. It's just people say I'm just jealous. He is a good-looking geezer, but even if I was as good-looking as him, I wouldn't do that. Our refs tired of giving Romero red cards already.
I will say, in my opinion, I spoke about this on my match reaction. For me, Romero, I love him. I think he's a great defender, but he's got that awful moronic gene that he needs to get out of his game. And if we could get a defender of his quality in without it, I'd sell him in a heartbeat because he could have easily seen red yesterday. I thought he did a challenge before then he should have got booked for. And he's the sort of player that can cost you massively, especially when we were at bare bones anyway, if we lost him for another 3 games. So, yeah, for me, he is a bit of a bozo. So I'm not going to defend him because we was lucky that he didn't get a red card for me.
Ike here says Liverpool won the league with no direct competition in the COVID year. Every other time they bottled it to City in the last round. But you talk about Arsenal.
Big up Ike here, but I'm not having that. We worked for that. Start of the season, we were scintillating. We had consecutive wins. You can't say we had no competition. City just weren't up for it, and we weren't, and we created a gap.
Asterisks.
No, the real one. Terry, the real one is City season. The following one. The real COVID season is the following year.
Yeah.
We had won it.
Jamie here says it's crazy Liverpool have no DM. Apparently players are not good enough, but we just keep winning. If we stay consistent, we win the league. Simple is what Jamie
with what? Because he's answering Mo there, basically. He just said you guys are not putting convincing performances. I think even Rums admitted it. So what do you mean consistent with what? Scoring last minute winners.
You know what? Big up Jamie Phillips. He's
Jamie, but
he's a big optimist in that. But I agree with that. But we need to add in January. With our current group of players now, I don't think we can go all the way. That's just my opinion. We're challengers, but you can't say we're favourites.
LB, before we finish, who do you see as your biggest challengers at this point, LB, as you're still the favourites?
I flip-flop everything, Terry. I do. And I'm not, man. Like, I think it's very, very close. I think for me, I look at Liverpool and look at Salah. I think we'll all agree he's just an output machine, man. And they've done it before. But I look at Arsenal and I think that Arsenal fans will be surprised. I think Arsenal are a good side as well. And I think they've been doing really well recently to keep getting wins, even maybe when they've not been playing great. I think it's a toss-up, man. I think it's so close. I think it's going to be such a good title race, man. I think it's going to go down to the wire. I really do.
It's going to be amazing. It is. I want to just put up the leaderboard as well. If you guys have been playing, KJ still sitting top. He got another one right in golden goals this week. He's got 5 correct. I'm still hanging. I'm hanging on to dear life to second place as LB is closing in. We're both on 3 now. Kate's moved on to 2. Don is on 2, correct as well. So yeah, still a few people struggling down the bottom with zeros at the moment. But that is the leaderboard when on for the top 6 when it comes to golden goals. Make sure you get the app downloaded. Make sure you're ready to play it. There is some midweek Champions League games on there as well. But of course, if you get 6 predictions right, you win 2 million quid. If you're not playing and it's free, unless you've got a religious reason, I cannot imagine why you wouldn't give it a little bit of a go. It costs you nothing. Well, it costs you about 3 minutes of your time, maybe, if you're going to think about it deeply. I am second. I'm better than Manny. Listen, by the way, KJ gets called out for his opinions a lot. So far, he's leading the way with these predictions. You know what I mean? It's a true barometer of what you know. I'm only messing. Look, I want to thank everyone for coming on today. LB, Mo, Roms, Kate, Staffy, and Don. I really appreciate it. To all my super chatters, you're amazing. To everybody's hit the like button, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're back tomorrow with some content a little bit of content in the morning, but then League Gunner in the afternoon for straight facts, and then match reactions to the Champions League. Man United playing tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Man United getting out tomorrow. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, a few people asking me, Terry, what's your thoughts on what Joey Barton has said? Yeah, the idea that women can't have an opinion on the idea that women can't have an opinion on men's football is weird to me. I also don't really understand what he's talking about. Saying that some people haven't earned the positions they're in is very different from saying women shouldn't speak about men's football. So I don't really understand the debate. Every time I see a tweet, it feels confusing to me. But he is wrong. Some of the best panelists we've ever had on the terrace have been women. Some of the best panelists have been men. Some of the worst panelists have been women. Some of the worst panelists have been men. I think that's typically how life works. So, but if Joey Barton is listening and he fancies a debate on it, feel free, bruv. I doubt he will, because I don't think I'm what he's chasing, if that makes sense. But yeah, I disagree with him wholeheartedly on that. Listen, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.